Grandfather is the richest man in the city. Also, I could live a life of leisure, relying on the elders, relying on children in the future and a good wife in between. What a beautiful life. So he spent trillions to find me a wife who is a beautiful female CEO. But looking at the stunning temptress before me, with her curvaceous figure, slender waist, and firm hips, I blushed and said coldly, I don't love you. Don't love me either. After we marry, we'll each live our own lives. Aside from the title of young mistress of the Goof family, I can't give you anything else. However, I never would have imagined in a million years that just because of these stubborn words, I would later wish I could slap my own face. Just a moment ago, grandfather used a suicide threat to force me into this arranged marriage. And when I found out who I was supposed to marry, I was instantly stunned. Because she is the biological older sister of my best friend, Shenbei. She's 5 years older than me. I was so furious that I immediately prepared to head to the club to settle the score with Shenbei. But just as I reached the door, grandfather called me back. Going out is fine, but don't do anything reckless. A woman's purity is the best dowry she can bring to a man. Hearing that, my footsteps suddenly faltered. 10 minutes later, I drove to the club's entrance. As soon as I got out, I saw Shenbei. He came over with a beaming smile. He put his arm around my shoulder and said, Dichin, you're looking quite handsome tonight. I shrugged my shoulder, shook off his hand, gave a cold snort, and walked straight inside. Shenbei followed me confused, asking what was wrong. I gave him a cold, sharp glare. Does this guy really have the nerve to ask what's wrong? I considered you a good brother, but you wanted to be my brother-in-law. Most importantly, you conspired with grandfather to deceive me. Seeing this, Shenbei was about to ask for details, but then he saw a group of elites in suits approaching from the opposite direction. They stopped right next to us. While I was wondering who they were, I heard Shenbei beside me smile and call out, Sister. I froze when I heard that. Turning my head to look back, I saw a great beauty nodding slightly to him. I looked closely. Her beauty was a perfect 10. Her figure was a 10 too, especially her very curvaceous bosom, which made my heart skip a beat for some unknown reason. Then, Shen Yunshu spoke. Come home early. As a brother who fears his sister, Shenbei naturally nodded obediently. But what he didn't expect was that. The next second, Shen Yunshu shifted her gaze to me. You too. As soon as she said that, the friends with her all burst out laughing. Shen Yunshu, it's one thing to control your brother, but why do you want to control young Master Gu too? Shen Yunshu looked at me, the corners of her lips curling up slightly. Her cool voice carried a hint of amusement. Indeed, I must. My face turned even redder after hearing that. Afterward, we went into a private room to drink and sing. Not until 11 o'clock at night did Shenbei suddenly say, I have to head back. My sister told me to be home early. Then he looked at me and added, You too. My sister said you have to go home early as well. I immediately flew into a rage. We're not even officially engaged yet, and she's already trying to control me. I am the proud and domineering young master of the Gu family. I am not the type to be henpecked. Thinking this, I sat on the sofa with my legs crossed. I'm not going back. Go back yourself. There is no way I am going home yet. Seeing this, Shenbei nodded to leave. But I hesitated for a moment and called him back. Wait. You're not planning to go snitch to your sister, are you? Shenbei looked at me, completely confused. Snitch to my sister about what? Why are you being so strange today? I looked at him cautiously. You don't know? Know what? Looking at the expression on his face, I suddenly felt much more at ease. It's nothing. Just go home. Shenbei left, looking utterly bewildered. When he arrived home, he saw Shen Yunshu sitting on the sofa with her legs crossed. She looked at Shenbei with a smile. Coming home early all by yourself? Won't your friends be upset? Shenbei shook his head. No. Shen Yunshu nodded, saying nothing more. It seems that little fiancé of hers hasn't returned home yet. Tisk tisk, he has a bit of a rebellious streak. As for me, I didn't return home until the next morning. Strangely, grandfather didn't scold me at all. He just chuckled and told me to go to my room and sleep. Then he said we were going to a restaurant tonight to discuss the marriage with the Shen family. I just could never have guessed what Shen Yunshu would do to me tonight. When evening came, I recognized Shen Yunshu immediately among the Shen family members. That red dress of hers was truly dazzling. It accentuated her body's curves perfectly. A flash of amazement appeared in my eyes. Is she trying to use her charms on me? It won't work. Thinking that, I quickly withdrew my gaze. After exchanging some pleasantries with Shen's parents, we all entered the restaurant together. Not until we sat down in the private room did Shenbei, who had been dazed until now, suddenly realize that the brother-in-law his mother refused to reveal was actually me. Thinking of this, he flew into a rage. You sneaky bastard. You dare touch my sister. Sensing his furious glare, I felt a pang of guilt and lowered my head to eat. Seeing that, the Shen parents seemed very satisfied. Originally, when grandfather Gu proposed the alliance, they intended to refuse, because of the rumors that I was an arrogant young master who looked down on everyone. But Shen Yunshu had nodded in agreement. Furthermore, seeing how well behaved I was now. And so, the meal went very pleasantly and the basic arrangements were settled. Afterward, the Shen family prepared to leave. At this moment, grandfather gave me a meaningful smile. Dichin, drive Yunshu home. I glanced at Shen Yunshu and saw her smiling back at me. My face turned red again uselessly. In the end, I still nodded obediently. But just as everyone was smiling contentedly, Shenbei suddenly shouted, "I want to go with Gu Dichin too." He thought his sister wouldn't want to be alone with me either. Who knew Shen Yunshu would only give him a cold glance? Go with mom and dad. Shenbei couldn't believe it, but seeing the indifferent gaze of his sister, he finally had to follow his parents away dejectedly. I had no idea that this was just the first step in Shen Yunshu's plan to discipline me. I led Shen Yunshu to my car. Just as I was about to start the engine, her melodious voice rang out, "Help me fasten my seatbelt." I was momentarily stunned. Seeing that, Shen Yunshu smiled and said, "Fastening your fiancé's seatbelt is what a gentleman should do." Hearing those words, I felt as if I were under a spell, leaning over gently to fasten it for her. But since the sports car's interior was quite cramped, and her bust was so remarkably full, my hand as it moved across accidentally brushed against her breast. Though there was a layer of clothing in between, I could still feel an extreme softness. My movements froze. Then, feeling a bit guilty, I stole a glance at her. She just looked at me in silence. My face flushed bright red. Then I tried to look calm while finishing the seatbelt. Seeing this, the corners of her lips curled slightly. "Let's go." I gave her a look and started the car. Under the cool night breeze, I gradually calmed down and realized Shen Yunshu was truly a temptress. She must have deliberately seduced me just now. I've seen these kinds of tricks many times before. Why, when facing Shen Yunshu, did I not keep my composure? Thinking about my awkwardness earlier and how she saw right through all my anxiety, I wanted to reclaim my dignity. So, I cleared my throat and said coldly, "I don't want to marry you. It's only because grandfather used his life to force me." I thought she would be angry. Unexpectedly, she just nodded. Smiling, she said, "I know." I frowned, thinking to myself that she must be pretending, so I continued in a cold tone. "Let me tell you first. I don't love you, and don't you love me either. After we're married, we each do our own thing. Besides the title of young mistress of the Gu family, I can't give you anything else." Surprisingly, Shen Yunshu still smiled and nodded. "Don't worry, I often work overtime and go on business trips. I won't have time to control you. Feel free to play around as much as you want." Actually, if it weren't for the massive benefits grandfather Gu offered, she wouldn't have spared a second glance at a boy 5 years younger than her for a strategic marriage. After all, the age gap was quite large. Communicating in the future would surely be difficult. Hearing her words, my mood suddenly became extremely foul, so I remained silent for the rest of the drive. Coldly, I drove Shen Yunshu back to the Shen residence. As it turned out, just as we arrived at the door, Shenbei was already standing there waiting. He told Shen Yunshu to go inside first, then frowned and said to me, "You can't marry my sister. You're not good enough for her." I immediately sneered, "Am not good enough for her. I am a perfect match, a top-tier celestial pairing, perfectly suited, so suited that should be swept off her feet." Shenbei nodded. "Look at my sister. Intellectual, elegant, and beautiful. Now look at yourself." With that, he showed a look of utter disgust. "Anyway, I don't approve of this marriage." I gave him a resentful blare. "Do you think I want to get married this early?" Then I told him about grandfather threatening suicide to force me to agree. I told him everything. Seeing him silent, I tested the waters. "Maybe you should go talk your sister out of it. My grandfather wouldn't go as far as using a knife to force her, right?" Shenbei thought for a moment and then nodded in agreement. When Shenbei entered the room, he saw Shen Yunshu sitting at her vanity, doing her skincare routine. "Sister, is our family business in trouble?" Shen Yunshu glanced at him, asking with a smile, "Why do you ask that?" Shenbei frowned. "Because Gu Dichin isn't your type at all, so something must have happened to our family. That's why we need help from the Gu family." And then old Master Gu set the condition. "That you have to marry that guy, right?" Shen Yunshu laughed and shook her head. "No. I agreed to marry him of my own accord." Looking at her younger brother's disbelief, Shen Yunshu smiled and continued. "Gu Dichin. He is the sole heir to the Gu family, successor to the Gu group. No parents to answer to. 188 centimeters tall, exceptionally handsome, and only in his early 20s. Full of youthful energy, with no bad habits. Do you know how in demand someone with these credentials would be if you were put on the market?" Shenbei was stunned. "But you don't even like him." Shen Yunshu chuckled softly. "Who said I don't like him? A younger man who is youthful, handsome, wealthy, and energetic. What older sister wouldn't like that?" Meanwhile, I had just returned to my room when I received a threatening message from Shenbei. "If you ever dare to do anything to hurt my sister, I'll kill you. Seeing that, I suddenly felt a sense of relief. Actually, marrying Shen Yunshu is quite good. She's both beautiful and sexy. Taking her anywhere would make me proud. And most importantly, Shen Yunshu said she's busy with work and won't try to control me, so after marriage, I'll still be the same carefree and leisurely young Master Gu. Shen Yunshu better be a woman of her word, otherwise I'll show her what I'm capable of. At 9 o'clock the next morning, Shen Yunshu and I met at the entrance of the Civil Affairs Bureau. Grandfather said a man must have the demeanor of a gentleman and should never let a woman wait for him. So at 7 in the morning, he had someone drag me out of bed by the scruff of my neck. Have you been waiting long? Shen Yunshu walked up. She asked with a faint smile, what does that mean? Does she think I'm so eager to marry her that I rush here to wait for her? Thinking this, I tilted my chin up slightly. I said stubbornly, I didn't even want to come. Grandfather sent people to escort me here. I didn't ask how you got here. My face flushed crimson immediately upon hearing that. I frowned and looked at Shen Yunshu with annoyance. Seeing this, Shen Yunshu smiled gently. All right, don't be angry anymore. Let's go in. Did she just tell me not to be angry? Is she trying to coax me? Thinking of that, my handsome face turned from bright red to a light pink. By the time we got the marriage certificate, it was 11 o'clock. I thought Shen Yunshu would go have lunch with me, but she said there was something at the company and left first. Looking at the exhaust from her car, I could only chuckle in frustration. Truly, an upper-class marriage without a shred of affection. However, what made me even more depressed was when I went home and told grandfather that Shen Yunshu had gone straight to the office. Grandfather looked at me with total disdain. He insisted that I must also go to work at the company tomorrow. He even said if I refused to go, I would have to stay home every day and exert myself to produce an heir. Naturally, I rejected both options completely. Seeing this, Grandfather Gu glared at me. You won't do this, and you won't do that. So what exactly do you want to do? Right now, you're just a useless brat. If you don't hurry up and give me a child to train, how do you plan to live the rest of your life? Probably seeing my rebellious expression, Grandfather let out a long sigh. His tone softened slightly. Deech, I'm only doing this for your own good. Right now, you have me to rely on. But what happens after I'm gone? I planned everything out for you. I'll try to live for another few decades, to raise your child well. That way, your life of leisure will be uninterrupted. First half of your life, you rely on Grandfather. Second half of your life, you rely on your... I have to... Grandfather's plan sounded quite appealing, but I suddenly realized a key point. Are you sure I can rely on my son for the second half of my life? Grandfather Gu looked at the faulty product before he cleared his throat. Well, it was the first time and I lacked experience. You have to try. I've learned some painful lessons from this fail. The next one definitely won't be a fail. Hearing that, I didn't know what to say. I just silently went up to my room on the second floor to sleep. But just as I was sleeping soundly, I was suddenly awakened by a noise. It turned out the Shen family was moving some belongings of Shen Yunshu's into the house. I stood and watched for a while. Then Grandfather urged me to go freshen up, to go to dinner with the Shen family. The strange thing was, when I arrived, Shen Yunshu was nowhere to be found. I only saw Shen Bei, who kept giving me a scorching glare. I didn't back down and glared back secretly. He's uncomfortable? Well, so am I. Clearly, I'm already married to Shen Yunshu, yet he won't even call me brother-in-law once. As for Shen Yunshu, it wasn't until the meal was about to start that she finally appeared. After explaining herself to Grandfather with a smile, she sat down right next to me. The tips of my ears turned slightly red. I stole a glance and saw her wearing a skirt that tightly hugged her hips. Because of the way she sat, the skirt slid up slightly along her bare thighs, revealing a stretch of porcelain white skin. If the skirt slid up any further, I'd be able to see all the way to the top. I quickly looked away, not daring to look any longer. If I kept looking, I wouldn't be able to stop myself from wanting to touch. Shen Yunshu glanced at me, and then the corners of her lips curled up playfully. Then she lifted one leg, crossing her legs to one side, and pointed the toe of her high heel toward me. She accidentally brushed against my calf. I suddenly jolted. My whole body shuddered. A numbing sensation spread, making my scalp tingle for a moment. I looked at Shen Yunshu in shock. She is clearly trying to seduce me. Shen Yunshu smiled and asked, "What's wrong?" Her nonchalant attitude, as if nothing had happened, made me start doubting myself. Nothing. Shen Yunshu nodded. She didn't say another word. After the meal, everyone went back to their own homes. Unlike the last time, this time, Shen Yunshu returned to the Gu residence with Grandfather and me. But what I least expected was that. As soon as we got home, Grandfather pulled me aside for a lecture. He told me I must work hard to give him a great-grandson. I wasn't allowed to treat this as a marriage in name only. Living in the same room but sleeping in different beds, or each doing our own thing after marriage without crossing paths, It was forbidden. Otherwise, he forced me to work regular hours at the company every day. I was so angry that I immediately turned and headed straight upstairs. He wants children? I'll give him 10 just to show him. Let's see if I can tire that old man to death. However, as I was irritably pushing open the bedroom door, I saw Shen Yunshu just stepping out of the bathroom after her shower. She was wearing a low-cut red spaghetti-strap nightgown. Her long porcelain white legs were exposed underneath, extremely eye-catching. Seeing this breathtaking scene, I froze in my tracks for a moment, feeling the heat rising in my face. Shen Yunshu saw me standing dazed at the door, so she walked over to the vanity and started her skincare routine. Seeing that, I also stepped into the room. That's when I realized the room had been completely transformed. Not only were red double happiness symbols pasted everywhere, but the bedsheets were also covered in rose petals. This decoration combined with Shen Yunshu made me feel extremely restless. But what I wondered was, Shen Yunshu just calmly focused on her skincare, seemingly unconcerned by my presence. Don't they say a woman is always nervous and scared her first time? Is it possible this isn't Shen Yunshu's first time? Is that why she can be so calm and confident? Thinking of this, I felt a wave of resentment. Grandfather made me promise not to mess around with women, to preserve my purity as a dowry. Why didn't he make that demand of Shen Yunshu? He really is a double-standard old man. After Shen Yunshu finished her skincare, she saw me sitting on the sofa with a sulky face. She looked at me for a moment and said, "Let's talk." I was still frowning. Talk about what? Shen Yunshu didn't answer immediately. Instead, she stood up and walked toward me. I looked at her, entranced. She really was very beautiful. The V-neck nightgown revealed half of her alluring bosom. I made a quick mental estimate. Truly, something that one of my hands couldn't fully grasp. Shen Yunshu came over and sat down right next to me. She curled her lips in a slight smile, whispering, "Can we go to bed now?" Her voice was so gentle. Her warm breath fanned across my face. Her breath was as sweet as orchids. It left me completely unable to think. I could only blush and stare at her, dazed. The smile on Shen Yunshu's lips deepened. Then she leaned in and kissed my lips. Feeling the contact on my lips, my pupils dilated instantly in shock. And before I could regain my senses, Shen Yunshu spread her legs and sat straddled on my lap. She wrapped her arms around my neck and continued the passionate kiss. Even as I was on the verge of losing control, she reached down with her small hand to caress my abs. My entire body suddenly stiffened. My bloodshot eyes stared intently at her. "You still dare to seduce me at a time like this hateful woman. Tonight you're finished." Thinking this, I aggressively pressed her forward. Beautiful times truly passed by in a flash. Shen Yunshu woke up first the next morning. Even though the two had been passionate halfway through the night, her biological clock still woke her up on time. She just didn't want to move. She frowned slightly, glanced at me, still fast asleep beside her. Earlier, when the investigation showed I was still a virgin, she didn't quite believe it. But after last night, she was fully convinced. Because I truly only knew how to follow a man's possessive instincts. This made her feel quite miserable. After all, it was her first time too. Her body had never been explored before. She simply couldn't handle my intense demands. Thinking this, Shen Yunshu took out her phone, intending to book a spa appointment for herself. However, her movements woke me up. Even though I was still groggy and not fully awake, I instinctively pulled her into my arms and held her tight. Then my hand unconsciously touched her there and gave a light squeeze. That warm and soft sensation made me momentarily dazed. When I opened my eyes, I was met with Shen Yunshu's cold gaze. I looked down in the direction of her gaze. Only then did I realize my hand was still resting boldly on her breast. I was instantly overcome with shame. My face turned bright red from embarrassment. So I quickly withdrew my hand, not daring to look at Shen Yunshu directly. Even though whatever needed to be done was already done last night, the truth is, Shen Yunshu and I aren't that close yet. Furthermore, I really was a bit excessive last night. She was crying and begging me back then, but I still refused to let her go. Thinking about this, my expression changed slightly. Looking at Shen Yunshu, I instinctively moved closer to be intimate. However, when she saw the infatuated look in my eyes, Shen Yunshu quickly put her hand out to block my chest. "What are you doing?" I said nothing. Instead, I pressed my body directly against hers. Then I wrapped my arms around her waist and pulled her into my embrace. This is my wife, after all. Being intimate with my wife is only natural. I have to be bold. Shen Yunshu. She silently took a moment to feel her own body, quietly assessing in her mind, wondering if she still had enough strength to indulge me a bit more. She wanted to maintain a good relationship with me. She didn't want to ruin the mood. But the final assessment was, her body truly couldn't take it anymore. "Wait until tonight, okay? I'm feeling a bit unwell." My face flushed red. I could somewhat guess the reason why she was feeling unwell, so I let go of her, got out of bed, and went to the bathroom. Shen Yunshu let out a sigh of relief. Then, she took out her phone to check her ovulation cycle. She wanted to get pregnant as soon as possible. And this was exactly the agreement between her and Grandfather Gu. Back then, Grandfather had taken the initiative to negotiate with her, giving her various shares and assets, requiring her to marry me. And the conditions Grandfather set were only two: urge me to become a better person, and quickly produce an heir for the Gu family. But what I didn't expect was, when he saw Shen Yunshu coming downstairs for breakfast with such a glowing face, Grandfather couldn't sit still. He thought it was because I was being rebellious, that I didn't even bother to touch Shen Yunshu. So after waiting for Shen Yunshu to leave for the beauty salon, Grandfather looked at me with a gaze full of annoyance. Get your butt to the company and work for me later. Hearing that, I felt it was strange. Grandfather, didn't you say before that as long as I stayed home and focused on having a child, then I wouldn't have to work in the future? Grandfather Gu glanced at me with utter contempt. That girl Yunshu woke up so early today, and her complexion is so rosy. One look and I can tell you didn't put in any effort yesterday. Now, I don't care anymore. If you don't go to work today, I'll take a knife and slit my wrists right in front of you. Anyway, Yunshu is a capable person, and she's a woman of character. If I really do pass away, she will take good care of you. Hearing this, my face darkened as I looked at Grandfather. I grit my teeth. I'll go. Can't I just go and work like a slave for you? This is truly a losing deal. A breeding horse by night and a beast of burden by day. Sooner or later, I'll die of exhaustion. However, what made me even more devastated was, when Grandfather and I returned from work, the butler informed us that Shen Yunshu had already left for a business trip. Working all day was already miserable enough, and at night, I don't even get to hold my wife to sleep. But fortunately, not long after, my good buddies, Bai Langyu and the other three, called me out to play. But when I got there, I found out Shen Bei was also there. The moment he saw me, he frowned and immediately dragged me out to the hallway. In a dark corner, he questioned me, out partying on the second day after the wedding. Leaving my sister all alone in the bedroom, do you even deserve her? I lowered my head, aggrieved. Your sister went on a business trip, abandoning me right after the wedding. So I came out for a few drinks with friends, to relieve the sorrow in my heart. Is that not allowed? Hearing this, Shen Bei felt a bit guilty. But since it was his sister who had abandoned me, he couldn't possibly say it was his sister's fault. So he puffed out his chest and asked again, my sister. She didn't do it on purpose. Did you do so to make my sister unhappy? That question started to make me feel a bit guilty. Could it be because I made her cry last night? She was crying and begging me to stop, and I didn't stop. But after thinking of something, I also puffed out my chest and asserted, no, if you don't believe me, go ask your sister. Seeing that, Shen Bei believed me. Afterward, we went back to the VIP room to continue singing and drinking. But what made me unhappy was, at 10:30, Shen Bei started rushing me to go home. Even though there was no wife waiting for me at home, I still decided to head back. It's just that I didn't sleep well at all that night, because I dreamed the whole night. My dreams were filled with images of Shen Yunshu crying and begging me. So as soon as I woke up the next morning, the first thing I did was take a shower. After I finished cleaning up, I went downstairs for breakfast with a cold face. Grandfather Gu curled his lip, looking at my miserable face. What are you doing? Youngshu's only been gone for a day. Why do you look so sexually frustrated? Hearing that, my face instantly flushed red. Grandfather, is he not ashamed at his age? And besides, how did he guess so accurately? Seeing that I only blushed without refuting. Grandfather Gu laughed and said, if you miss Yunshu already, then give her a call. Tell her to come home a bit earlier. My face turned even redder. I was tongue-tied and argued back. I don't miss her. Grandfather Gu nodded with a squinting smile. Right? You don't. You don't. Looking at his attitude, I got angry, stood up, and walked straight away. Grandfather Gu called out from behind, Yichin, if you miss Yunshu, just call her. Her husband and wife. There's no need to be shy. I walked straight to the door with a cold face. I don't even bother missing her, nor do I bother calling her. Besides, it's not like I even have her phone number. The following days were spent in the company of my own hands until the 7th day. Finally, Shen Yunshu returned home from her business trip, exactly at 7 in the evening. When she arrived, Grandfather and I were having dinner. Seeing her suddenly appear, I was stunned for a moment. Then I silently lowered my head and continued eating. As for Grandfather, when he saw Shen Yunshu return, he was overjoyed, asking her about her trip while he ate. While the two of them were chatting animatedly, I had finished eating. I put my chopsticks down. Then I stood up and walked away without saying a word. Grandfather smiled and said to Shen Yunshu, you were just on a trip, and were gone for a whole week. Little Yichin is a bit unhappy. Please put some effort into coaxing him. Shen Yunshu didn't quite understand, but she still nodded on the surface. Yes, I understand. Shortly after, she finished eating and returned to the room. But what frustrated me was that when she saw me, she didn't say anything. Instead, she went straight into the bathroom to shower. It really makes one feel cold-hearted. Gone for 7 days on business without a word of notice. And after coming home, she didn't even bother saying a single word to me. How could I have expected Shen Yunshu that she was only preparing for the upcoming battle? Before long, Shen Yunshu finished her shower. She stepped out in a thin pink silk nightgown. She looked at me and asked with a smile, "Going to sleep yet?" Hearing that, I nodded with a red face. Why wouldn't I sleep with my own wife? Don't misunderstand. I want to sleep with you. Because grandfather wants a great-grandchild. He hopes he'll have a child soon. I thought saying that would make Shen Yunshu angry. Surprisingly, she only gave a slight nod. I know, today just happens to be my ovulation period. Having said that, she got into bed first. I hesitated for a moment. Then I climbed in as well. When we were both lying in bed, I felt a bit awkward and nervous. I didn't know how to start, while Shen Yunshu lay waiting for a while. Seeing that I still hadn't made a move, she guessed my state of mind. Actually, she was the same way, but for the ultimate goal, she decided to take action. She threw off the thin blanket covering her, turned and sat on top of me, then immediately leaned down for a passionate kiss. After that, Shen Yunshu lay down, letting me do whatever I wanted. Learning from the previous wedding night, I originally didn't want to make Shen Yunshu cry, but in the end, she still shed tears. I felt so innocent, but in my heart, a secret pride surged. But this time, I finally understood. Shen Yunshu wasn't crying because of pain. She was crying due to a natural bodily reaction. Those were physiological tears. Tears when emotions overflow and cannot be suppressed. After a few days of working, my biological clock started to settle into a routine. So when Shen Yunshu woke up, I woke up right along with her. The two of us looked at each other. Without a word, each of us got up to do our own personal hygiene. Grandfather Gu saw me with a radiant expression, a handsome face as stunning as Wu Yanzu. He slightly curled his lips. The past few days, every morning you had such a resentful face, as if you were sexually frustrated, like someone owed you billions and didn't bother to pay back. But your wife just got back last night, and now the smugness and satisfaction on that face of yours can't be hidden even if you tried. I wonder who it was that didn't want to get married before, and even refused to be a breeding horse. It's just that I never could have dreamed that this cheerful mood after being nourished would only last until lunchtime. Because when I went to lunch with grandfather, I ran into Shen Yunshu, walking out of a restaurant with a handsome guy. Shen Yunshu smiled and greeted grandfather. Then she cast a brief glance at me. Meanwhile, I was staring coldly at the handsome guy, Shi Changshun. Feeling his gaze, I gave him a very cold glare. Then I gave a loud humph and turned away abruptly. Shen Yunshu didn't understand why I was throwing a tantrum. In reality, she was with Shi Changshun to discuss business. So after a brief exchange of words, they both went their separate ways. As he was about to leave, Shi Changshun asked Shen Yunshu why she had said that to the old man, saying that Shen Yunshu smiled and explained, "Gu Yichin and I are married." She assumed that Shi Changshun, as an employee, would offer his congratulations. Unexpectedly, his expression suddenly turned extremely cold. Why did you marry a playboy heir like him? Sensing the malice towards me in his words, Shen Yunshu suddenly understood everything. No wonder. Earlier, when she asked a top star like him to do a sales live stream, he agreed so readily. It seems it wasn't because he was being kind. Thinking of this, Shen Yunshu smiled and spoke seriously. Because I like him, of course. Hearing this, Shi Changshun turned cold and didn't say another word. Meanwhile, I was over here completely oblivious. After finishing work, I went to meet my close buddies to hang out. Seeing that I had just arrived, Shenbei sat down next to me and whispered, "Why are you here? Didn't my sister just get back from her trip?" I gave Shenbei a cold glare. I gave a loud humph and didn't even bother to answer. Her coming back is the same as her not being back. She just got back and already is out with some guy who isn't even worth mentioning. It's truly an eyesore. Seeing that, Shenbei couldn't help but frown. What are you hinting at? But he didn't expect me to snap back. Since when do you care? Do you live by the coast or something? Because you're managing things pretty far out. Besides, I'm your brother-in-law. Is this how you treat your superior? Shenbei was stunned for a moment. Just as he was about to argue back, Liu Jianli, sitting next to him, spoke up. What are you two huddling together and muttering about? I sat up straight. I'm teaching him to respect his superior. You guys help me judge this. I'm clearly already his brother-in-law, yet you won't even say the words brother-in-law. The others burst out laughing. No one believed what I said. They were just waiting to see Shenbei jump in and beat me up. But what disappointed them was that Shenbei just sat there with a sour face. He absolutely didn't take any action. Seeing that, I tilted my chin up, looking triumphantly at them. If Shenbei dared to touch me, I would go and tattle to Shen Yunshu immediately. A younger brother daring to hit his brother-in-law. That would be completely out of line. But what made me annoyed was, when I explained that Shin Yunshu and I were just a business marriage, they all chimed in saying I wasn't good enough for her. That fairy even said that Shin Yunshu probably only chose me for my handsome looks, and that she actually had no feelings for me at all. I smugly tilted my face up again. What do you guys know if there really were no feelings, and it was just a high society marriage for benefit? Then why didn't she find some other wealthy heir? Is there no one in this circle wealthier than my family? Or is there no man with age and capability equal to her? She chose me simply because she liked. Hearing that, Liu Jianli and the other guy felt as if the sky was falling. They proceeded to turn their sorrow into drinking power, using all their might to force me to drink, while Shenbei just stood by, watching coldly. Until 10 o'clock at night, I was finally dead drunk. Liu Jianli laughed sinisterly. Heh heh heh. Let's put an end to this bastard's arrogance. Sister Yunshu hates it most when we drink. Call her to come pick up Gu Yichin. However, what shocked them was that when Shen Yunshu arrived, she didn't seem angry at all. She just smiled gently and said, "You guys are spoiling him again." Seeing them all go silent with guilt, Shen Yunshu gave a soft laugh, and she sat down next to me. She gently whispered in my ear, "Yichin, I'm here to pick you up. Let's go home." Saying that, she asked the KTV staff to help me to the car to go home. Watching the two of us walk away, Liu Jianli slightly frowned. It seems Sister Yunshu really does like Gu Yichin. Shenbei stood beside him without saying a word, even though his sister had told him as much, but in her gaze just now, he absolutely didn't see any trace of heartache. Meanwhile, many years ago, he had seen with his own eyes what his sister looked like when she truly loved someone. Therefore, he was absolutely certain that she didn't love me. And while they were absorbed in their speculations, Shen Yunshu had brought me home. First, she told a male security guard in the house to bathe me. Then she didn't even bother giving me hangover soup and just let me go to sleep. In her heart, she secretly felt lucky that I was dead drunk. Otherwise, she feared her body wouldn't be able to handle it. Early the next morning, I vaguely opened my eyes only to find myself lying naked next to Shen Yunshu. What's more, there wasn't even a trace of the smell of alcohol on me. This made my old face flush bright red. I actually thought Shen Yunshu had bathed me last night. Just then, Shen Yunshu also woke up. First, she called the maid to bring me hangover soup. Then she frowned slightly and said, "Drink less alcohol from now on. It's not good for your health at all." I looked at her, feeling very aggrieved. It's because Liu Jianli and Shi Qisheng kept forcing me to drink, and Shenbei just sat there and didn't even try to help me. Hearing that, Shen Yunshu smiled and stroked my head. "All right, they won't force you anymore. Let's go. Time to head to the company for work." Hearing that, my face immediately fell. What a sin. Who in their right mind goes to work at this hour? As soon as we arrived at the company, Shen Yunshu immediately called Shenbei over. She smiled and asked, "Do you not like this brother-in-law, Gu Yi, or should I change him for someone else?" Shenbei was instantly elated. "Really? Can you?" Shen Yunshu looked at him with a faint smile, but that smile didn't reach her eyes. This startled Shenbei. "No, never mind, it's not necessary. Gu Yichin is actually quite all right." Shen Yunshu's expression remained unchanged. "If you think he's all right, then follow him and learn well. Starting tomorrow, you will also come to the company to work. After all, sooner or later, this company will be handed over to you." Shenbei didn't dare utter a word of resistance. He could only obediently nod in agreement. Seeing that, Shen Yunshu finally gave a sincere smile and praised him. "Bei is so good." Shenbei's face instantly turned bright red. Isn't this a compliment for a child? But in his heart, he still felt quite happy. After seeing Shenbei off, Shen Yunshu went on WeChat to chat with Liu Jianli's parents and Shi Qisheng for a bit. As a result, both of them also had to go to work. This made Shen Yunshu nod in satisfaction. If they aren't working, and how would they have enough time and energy to pamper my husband? No one knew that this very decision gave Shenbei a link in her plan for me, because the only one left idle was Bai Langyu, who, after hearing the news, posted a comment in the group chat. "Sister Shen Yunshu is really terrifying. I'm actually worried for Gu Yichin. Scoff and tight back. I have to be afraid of her. Do you think she's going to eat me alive or something?" But the four of them thought of something else. So they all joined in asking if Shen Yunshu had eaten me yet. My face instantly turned red. What's it to you guys? Why does this bunch have no sense of privacy? You'll ask anything. But what I didn't expect was that these words of mine made them think I still hadn't been eaten. Because according to their way of thinking, if I had actually managed to bed Shen Yunshu, such a great beauty, I certainly would have been boasting about it everywhere. Shenbei knit his brows tightly. That bastard Gu Yichin. My sister clearly married him, yet he still hasn't touched her. Isn't this a public insult to my sister? Thinking of this, Shenbei decided to teach me a lesson I wouldn't forget. So he immediately took out his phone. and asked Shen Yunshu out for dinner tonight. Shen Yunshu accepted. But when she arrived at the restaurant, she discovered that her old classmate Lian was also at this gathering. Perhaps because it had been so long since they last met, the atmosphere between the two of them was very pleasant. At this moment, Shenbei took the opportunity to snap a secret photo. Then he took more photos of the food on the table and posted them all to his WeChat moment, accompanied by the status, "Having dinner with my sister." In the photo, Shen Yunshu was looking at Leon and smiling as they chatted. Leon was looking at Shen Yunshu with a very gentle gaze. If anyone who didn't know the truth saw this photo, they would definitely think they were a couple. After posting, Shenbei clenched his fist, wanting to create a sense of threat for me, to make me realize that his sister didn't have only me. At the same time, I was aimlessly scrolling through moments. Suddenly, I sat up abruptly, eyes wide as I stared at the photo Shenbei just posted. Is this the social event she mentioned? Why is she having dinner with some guy? For some reason, I suddenly felt like I was being cuckolded. So I decisively messaged Shenbei immediately. Are you eating with your sister? Why is there another man there? Seeing that, Shenbei smugly curled his lips and replied, yep. And when I saw his reply, my eyebrows furrowed even more. After being interrogated relentlessly by me, Shenbei revealed to me that Shen Yunshu and Lian used to have a lot of romantic rumors about them in school. The whole school said they were the perfect golden couple, a match made in heaven. Hearing that, I opened the photo to look at it again. Seeing the two of them chatting and laughing, looking at each other intensely, they actually did look quite well matched. This made me lose all desire to reply. Shenbei, seeing my silence, felt very triumphant, but he never expected that by offending this brother-in-law of his, he would soon suffer retaliation from his own sister. But that's a story for later. Meanwhile, after finishing her meal, Lian invited a few more old classmates to join the fun. It had been 10 long years since they last met. They were all very curious about Shen Yunshu's career and love life. Shen Yunshu smiled and replied, I'm already married. We've already registered our marriage, and the official wedding will be in 2 months. Her old classmates were momentarily stunned. Then they all cast meaningful glances towards Lian. Lian's hand holding the water glass suddenly tightened. Is it? Before he could finish, Shen Yunshu smiled and cut him off. It's not that person. My husband's name is Gu Yichen. He's the youngest son of the Wanpian Hotel family. After hearing this, Lian was somewhat dazed. Then he frowned slightly. Why did you suddenly marry someone like Gu Yichen? Simply because I like him. Lian looked at her and didn't say a word. Afterward, the others took turns offering their congratulations. By the time Shen Yunshu returned home, it was already midnight. But what greatly surprised her was that I was still sitting on the sofa playing games. She smiled and looked at me, still not asleep. I looked at her without giving an answer. Her hair wasn't messy at all. Her lipstick wasn't smudged, and there were absolutely no suspicious marks on her neck. Shen Yunshu saw me staring at her without saying anything, so she smiled and asked, Are you waiting for me? My face immediately turned red. Who's waiting for you? I'm just playing games. Playing games while waiting for her? I pouted sulkily. I already said I wasn't waiting, but Shen Yunshu kept that smile and said, I'll try to come home a bit earlier from now on, so that you don't have to wait so late anymore. Having said that, she walked into the bathroom for personal hygiene. After finishing her shower, Shen Yunshu climbed straight into bed. Seeing that, I also quietly climbed in to lie down. But just as I was about to find a chance to clarify things, I saw that Shen Yunshu had already closed her eyes. I immediately felt my body temperature soar, feeling that she was just like a character in a TV drama. Men having fun playing around outside. Coming home to see an old wife at home makes them feel resentful. Not wanting to say a word and just going straight to sleep. I felt very angry. She wanted to go to sleep. So I definitely wouldn't let her have her way. So I flipped the thin blanket and turned to press down on her. The sudden weight on her made Shen Yunshu open her eyes. She immediately saw the handsome face right above her. This exact position made her want to bite my Adam's apple. I heard that the Adam's apple is a very sensitive spot for men. Just one bite and they can't take it. I don't know if it's true or not. She wanted to try it, but didn't dare. After all, she took the initiative to tease. Then she wouldn't get a wink of sleep tonight. But what she didn't know was, tonight I never intended to let her sleep anyway. So I lowered my head, intending to kiss her. Shen Yunshu reached out and covered my lips. I'm very tired today. Hearing that, I let out a cold laugh in my heart. Then, ignoring her refusal, I brushed her hand away and stubbornly showered her with kisses. Shen Yunshu was kissed into a daze. Then she struggled a bit, and then she obediently complied and cooperated. After tormenting her for 3 hours like that, the anger in my heart dissipated quite a bit. The next day, Shenbei came to the office early in the morning of Shen Yunshu. He came to check on his older sister. But what made him wonder was, Shen Yunshu looked even more haggard than before. So he stared at Shen Yunshu's exposed neck, but there weren't any hickeys or scratch marks on it. This made Shen Bei frown immediately. That damn Gu Yichin. I already gave him a sense of crisis, and he can still act as if nothing happened? My sister must be so heartbroken then. Thinking this, Shen Bei turned and left in a huff. He drove straight to the Gu Corporation headquarters. As soon as he reached the lobby, he called me. Gu Yichin, I'm at the first floor lobby of your company. Get down here right now. After saying that, before I could react, he hung up. Dazed, I hurried down to the first floor. Just as I was about to ask Shen Bei what was wrong, he ended up throwing a punch, landing a powerful blow on my face. He put a lot of force into this punch, making me fall to the ground. I covered my nose and shouted, "Are you crazy?" Unexpectedly, Shen Bei became even more enraged. He rushed over, grabbed my collar, and hissed, "Gu Yichin, I've given you too much face, haven't I?" Then he prepared to punch me again, but the security guards rushed in and restrained him, sitting flat on the ground. Looking at Shen Bei screaming and struggling, I frowned. What on earth are you going crazy for? Gu Yichin, you bastard. What did you do to my sister? You should know very well in your heart. His words made me even more confused. Could Shen Yunshu have told him about last night, making Shen Bei think that I forced her, so he came here to settle the score with me? But Shen Yunshu only struggled a bit last night. After that, she went along with it. Thinking this, feeling guilty, I coughed. You guys let him go. Just let him hit me. The guards looked at each other in confusion, but in the end, they still released Shen Bei. Shen Bei gave me a burning glare. Then he stormed toward the Gu Corporation gate. Follow me. I followed obediently behind, all the way to a deserted corner outside. Shen Bei finally stopped. Divorce my sister. Seeing my questioning look, he glared at me fiercely. If you are married to my sister, then you should fulfill the responsibilities and duties of a husband. Yet you married her and just left her there like a home decoration, not bothering to look or even touch her. Do you know how much of a hurt and insult that is for a woman like my sister? Do you know how much of a hurt and insult that is? Hearing that, I looked at Shen Bei in surprise. Who told you I don't look at or touch her? Let me tell you, I touch her every day. I even touch her several times a night. Hearing this, we looked at each other, both feeling a bit embarrassed. Shen Bei blushed slightly. Then why didn't you say so in the group? I replied irritably. Do you want me to go around bragging everywhere that I slept with your sister? Only cheap men would do something like that. But what was surprising was, after Shen Bei knew I didn't insult his sister, his mood, on the contrary, became even more gloomy. Then what happened between you and my sister last night? Why did you look so haggard? Hearing this, I suddenly felt guilty and didn't dare to look at Shen Bei anymore. In the end, I had to tell the truth. Well, things were a bit intense last night. I whispered the last few words very softly. At first, Shen Bei didn't have time to react. A few seconds later, he gritted his teeth and glared at me. You really are a bastard. Then he prepared to punch me again. Unexpectedly, I quickly ran away. My voice echoed in the wind. You don't understand. It's just couples play. It's overbearing CEO's forced love, you country bumpkin. Shen Bei gritted his teeth audibly. He swore that one day he would let me taste his own kind of dominance. But what I didn't expect was that this matter would spread so quickly. It has already reached grandfather's ears. Even though you knew Shen Bei did that, it must be because I had done something wrong. But Master Gu was still very angry. What if he accidentally injured me seriously? Therefore, during dinner, he mentioned this matter again. After hearing that, Shen Yunshu looked at me in surprise. Did he hit? I lowered my head and ate quietly, not saying a word. Seeing this, Shen Yunshu understood. Grandfather, I will talk to Abe and find out what happened. To my surprise, Master Gu frowned. Abe is not an unreasonable person. It must be because Gu Yichin did something wrong that he was beaten. He deserves to be beaten until he bleeds. Don't worry about him. He brought it on himself. Hearing that, Shen Yunshu nodded. She didn't say anything else. But in her heart, she knew very well. If he really didn't care about me, he wouldn't have intentionally mentioned this. He was secretly reminding her. However, she was also very angry because Shen Bei could be so impulsive, daring to hit his own sister's husband, and even beating me until I bled. After finishing the meal, Shen Yunshu and I just returned to our room. She immediately asked me why I was beaten, but I adamantly refused to say a word. So Shen Yunshu called Shen Bei. Why did you hit Gu Yichin? Shen Bei was stunned for a moment. Then he gritted his teeth in hatred. That green tea betch Gu Yichin. He couldn't win the fight, so he immediately went to tattle on me to you. I thought he had insulted you. Shen Yunshu didn't understand. She questioned him back. Where did you see him insulting me? Shen Bei remained silent. There are some things that even with his own sister, he felt too embarrassed to put into words. Seeing this, Shen Yunshu coldly urged, speak up. At this point, Shen Bei didn't dare not to speak. Well, because he forced himself on you last night. After hearing that, even someone as experienced as Shen Yunshu couldn't help but blush intensely. She looked at me silently. Are the two of them really that close? That even their private couple matters? He told Abe everything. I saw Shen Yunshu blushing. I was a bit surprised. I couldn't help but keep staring at her, while Shenbei on the other end of the line was still fuming with anger and bad-mouthing me. So Shen Yunshu went out to the balcony and closed the glass door tightly. Seeing that, I felt a bit annoyed. The two of them are talking and even being wary of this husband. I really wanted to go eavesdrop, but I couldn't bring myself to swallow my pride. In any case, you still shouldn't have resorted to violence. Gu Yichin is the only son of the Gu family. If today you really injured him seriously, then how would we explain it to the Gu family? Shenbei actually felt a bit regretful later. Then did he ever think about the things he did to you and how he would explain it to me and our parents? Unexpectedly, Shen Yunshu's next words left Shenbei stunned. Actually, he didn't force me at all. It was just some fun between husband and wife. It's a push and pull kind of thing, do you understand? After hearing that, Shenbei was completely speechless. He felt exactly like a clown, becoming part of the flirtatious game between his sister and me. At this moment, Shen Yunshu continued. About you hitting Gu Yichin. Grandfather Gu is very angry. Come to the house some other day and apologize to him. After saying that, she hung up and returned to the room. She looked at me and pondered for a moment. I know you and Abe have a very good relationship, but about the matters between us as a couple, you still shouldn't tell Shenbei everything. I immediately turned bright red. I didn't expect Shenbei to be so thick-skinned as to say that. I didn't, it was just an accident. I really didn't take our private matters and go around broadcasting them outside. I'm not that kind of person. Shen Yunshu smiled and nodded. I believe you. After saying that, she came and sat down next to me, and then she reached out, gently touching the wound on the corner of my lip. Does it hurt a lot? Her voice was gentle. Her eyes were full of pity. I blushed and looked at her in a daze. Seeing my silence, Shen Yunshu leaned her beautiful face close and gently blew on my wound. One little blow and the pain will go away. Hearing that, I felt like I was about to explode. Help, she's really too good at flirting. Shen Yunshu looked at my flushed face and couldn't help but curl her lips into a smile. Then she lightly placed a kiss on the corner of my mouth. Then she pulled back and asked, does it still hurt? No. The pain is gone, I stammered. My voice became husky. Seeing me like that, Shen Yunshu laughed radiantly and brightly, gently whispering in my ear, good boy. After saying that, she kissed my lips once more. Then she stood up to go take a shower. Only now did I dare to take a deep breath. Shen Yunshu is truly too mischievous. Even now, my heart is still pounding incessantly. I clutched my chest. Dear ancestors, please stop beating. If it keeps beating like this, I'll really have a heart attack. By the time Shen Yunshu finished showering and came out, I still felt a bit embarrassed, not daring to look directly into her eyes. Shen Yunshu saw this appearance of mine and found it extremely interesting. The investigation files earlier said this was a young master who was arrogant and overbearing, but after getting to know him, he turned out to be so innocent and shy like this. It turns out it was all just a facade for my husband. Thinking of this, she smiled and teased me. What's wrong? Does the corner of your mouth hurt again? My ears turned bright red again. But in my heart, I secretly blamed myself for being so useless. So I raised my head to look at Shen Yunshu and caught her beautiful eyes filled with laughter. Finally, I took a risk and walked up to her, bending down slightly, bringing my face close. It hurts again. Maybe you can blow on it for me again, or gently. Shen Yunshu was stunned for a moment. She thought I would give her a glare, and then run to take a shower to escape. I didn't expect that I had made progress. Immediately after, she smiled and nodded. Pursing her lips, she blew on the corner of my mouth again, and then placed a light kiss. Does it still hurt now? I blushed and looked at her, speechless. I just felt my mind go completely blank. Seeing this, Shen Yunshu said with a smile, it seems the pain is gone. Whenever it hurts again, just tell me, and I'll blow on it for you again. But what she didn't expect was, I suddenly blushed and looked at her with anticipation. Really? Looking at my expression, Shen Yunshu also belatedly realized how easily her words could be misunderstood, so she also felt a rare sense of embarrassment. I'll only blow on it if the wound hurts. Then can you blow on other places if they hurt too? Shen Yunshu temporarily didn't know how to answer. Just as I was feeling smug in my heart for finally being able to tease Shen Yunshu for once, she suddenly cast an implicit glance down at my body. Only the places where Shenbei hit you are allowed. Do you want me to call Abe over to beat you up again? Hearing that, I instinctively clamped my legs together, and then with a beet-red face turned and dashed into the bathroom. No need for that. Perhaps as revenge for being teased by Shen Yunshu, tonight I made her burst into tears again. However, I could never have expected that my troubles were about to arrive. The next day, Liu Jianli and the others kept clamoring for Shen Yunshu and me to treat them to a meal. After getting the consent of my wife Shen Yunshu, I immediately arranged a time to treat my close group of friends to a meal. The last person to arrive was Bai Lang Yue. This time, Bai Lang Yue even brought along a beautiful woman. The strange thing was that those around, upon seeing that girl, all had expressions of waiting to see a good show. The girl had just arrived and with a bright smile took out a box and gave it to me. Gu Yichen, this is a travel gift I bought for you. I accepted the gift and indifferently said, thank you. Let me introduce you. This is my wife, Shen Yunshu. Yunshu. This is my friend, Zhang Xinyue. Zhang Xinyue was stunned, looking at me with an expression of disbelief. Even her voice was slightly trembling. What are you saying? You clearly don't even have a girlfriend. How can you suddenly have a wife? Is it because you wanted to reject me that you spent money to hire someone to act this out? I coldly replied, no. This is indeed my wife. We have already registered our marriage. She is Shen Bei's older sister. Hearing this, Zhang Xinyue scrutinized Shen Yunshu from head to toe. But after looking for a while, she suddenly burst into tears. I frowned. What are you crying for? Today is a happy day and I'm treating guests to dinner. If you're going to cry, then please leave. Don't spoil the fun. Zhang Xinyue felt extremely uncomfortable in her heart, but she didn't dare to cry anymore. She used her hand to wipe away her tears, and resentfully found a place to sit down. Seeing that scene, Shen Yunshu didn't know what to say either, loving to this extent. Later, when everyone had arrived, everyone took turns congratulating Shen Yunshu and me. Although Zhang Xinyue was not happy at all, she didn't do anything excessive. She just sat there looking at me at times, and glancing at Shen Yunshu at others. Whenever she felt too heartbroken, she would lower her head to secretly wipe her tears. This made Shen Yunshu suddenly feel a bit touched. However, seeing this made me feel frustrated. I thought Shen Yunshu had misunderstood the relationship between Zhang Xinyu and me. After eating, the whole group headed to the club to continue playing. No one could have expected. Zhang Xinyu grabbed the mic and suddenly turned off the music. She stared at Shen Yunshu and said solemnly, Sister Shen, I know you don't love Gu Yichen. The moment those words were spoken, everyone went silent. The crowd looked at her. Sister Shen, you don't love him. But I do. I love him very much. As long as you agree to divorce Gu Yichen, I'll accept any conditions you have. I frowned and glared at her. Zhang Xinyu. What nonsense are you talking about? How could Shen Yunshu not love me? She loves me to death. Zhang Xinyu knew she couldn't argue with me, so she just kept staring at Shen Yunshu. However, what stunned me was, Shen Yunshu smiled and replied, 10 billion. I don't want stocks, nor do I need antiques or jewelry. I only want cash and real estate, all right? Zhang Xinyu's face turned pale and she remained silent. But I don't have that much money. Just as she was about to give up, Shen Yunshu said, how about I wait for you? You should work hard to make money. Come back to me when you've earned enough money. Zhang Xinyu felt like crying after hearing that. She was originally just a lazy second-generation rich girl, with absolutely no business sense at all. But for me, she decided to make an effort. So she aggressively declared, Shen Yunshu said it. When I earn enough 10 billion to give you, then you must divorce Gu Yichen. Shen Yunshu smiled and nodded. Then Zhang Xinyu left immediately. She wanted to go home that very night to think of ways to make money, but she had no idea that this was just Shen Yunshu's trick to fleece her. After all, if one already had 10 billion in hand, then who would only need one handsome guy anymore? Wouldn't it be better to call a few stars and models every day? It wasn't until 1 a.m. that Shen Yunshu and I returned home. As soon as we arrived, I immediately questioned Shen Yunshu. Do you really want 10 billion to sell me to Zhang Xinyu? Shen Yunshu smiled and gently kissed my face. Don't worry. How could Zhang Xinyu ever have 10 billion? But if she really brings the money, then I'll just accept it. At most, I'll give you 5 billion then, okay? Hearing that, my face turned red. I don't want it. I thought Shen Yunshu would comfort me, but instead she asked, why not? Before getting married, you yourself said you didn't love me. When the money is received, you can both divorce me and escape from me. Isn't that killing two birds with one stone? My face was still flushed. Grandfather won't agree. Shen Yunshu continued to laugh. Then you can give him 2.5 billion. Maybe he'll agree immediately. I looked at the smile on Shen Yunshu's lips and was choked with anger. Keep laughing. You're really making me die of anger. Shen Yunshu saw my appearance as if I was about to explode, so she laughed and pinched my cheek. All right, go take a shower now. I was just joking a bit earlier. Hearing that, I gave her a glare. In the future, you are not allowed to casually pinch another man's cheek. Shen Yunshu smiled and nodded. Okay, I won't pinch others. In the future, I'll only pinch you. Hearing that, my face flushed again. I hurried and dashed into the bathroom. But what I didn't expect was that while I was showering, Shenbei kept sending messages to Shen Yunshu to explain about Zhan Xinyue's matter. He said that although I'm a playboy, I've never relied on money or looks to toy with women. With Zhan Xinyue, it's just being friends who grew up together. Shen Yunshu smiled. It seems Bei still really likes this brother-in-law Gu Yichen. And just while Shen Yunshu and I were flirting, the appearance of a message made me a bit panicked. Zhan Xinyu decided to become a sales streamer to change her life. You should know that the streamer profession nowadays is truly very lucrative. Top streamers can earn billions every year, if she gets lucky. Then in 2 or 3 years, she can earn enough 10 billion. Accompanying that was also a message Zhan Xinyu sent to me. Wait for me, I will soon earn enough 10 billion to redeem you. I thought for a moment, then replied, do you think if Shen Yunshu and I divorce, that I will definitely be with you? Zhan Xinyu read the message and felt like the sky was falling, but she was still willing, because only when I divorce will she have a chance. She gritted her teeth and replied, it's fine. Even if you don't stay with me after the divorce, I am still willing. I was truly speechless. After that, I screenshotted all the messages and sent them to my wife. But what I completely could not have expected was that after Shen Yunshu saw them, she felt that Zhan Xinyu was a talent left. She wanted to recruit her as an artist for her company, so Shen Yunshu took the initiative to meet Zhan Xinyu. After knowing the other party's intentions clearly, Zhan Xinyu felt like her mind was about to overload. She wanted to steal Shen Yunshu's husband, yet the other party provided resources for her to make money. What kind of game is she playing? But she still wanted to sign a contract with Shen Yunshu's company, because only then would she have more chances to scout her. So only 1 hour later, the news that Shen Yunshu had signed a contract with Zhan Xinyu quickly spread everywhere. This matter left me completely confused, so I had to go ask for the opinion of strategist Liu Jianli. They helped me analyze the situation. Unexpectedly, this made my confidence skyrocket, because they said this was actually just a tactical move by Shen Yunshu. The purpose was to bring Zhan Xinyu to her company, so that she could easily control all her actions, and of course I completely believed in that. After all, in this city see in the most handsome man, Shen Yunshu would definitely never divorce me. Sure enough, in the evening while I was doing personal hygiene, I happened to glimpse a pregnancy test in the trash can. It only showed one line meaning she wasn't pregnant. I thought a business-strong woman like Shen Yunshu would consider children a burden. I didn't expect that she actually wanted to have a child. So after I finished showering and came out, I immediately asked Shen Yunshu why, but her next words made me blush bright red. Because I want to have a child to tie you down. I gave her a glare. Is it because you see him young that you think him easy to fool? Shen Yunshu smiled and said it wasn't like that. Every man is easy to fool. I'm starting to feel like I have a bit of luck now. Have you fooled many men before? Shen Yunshu shook her head and said no. Other men aren't worth my effort to deceive. As she spoke, she suddenly leaned in close. Her beautiful face was almost pressed against mine. I instinctively backed away a little, but then I thought I seemed a bit cowardly, so I stopped and looked straight at her. I've only ever fooled you, Shen Yunshu whispered. She spoke slowly on purpose. Why? Take a guess. Shen Yunshu looked at me with a gentle smile. I felt my heart racing. My hands gripped the blanket beneath me tightly. My face was so flushed I couldn't say a word. But Shen Yunshu found me absolutely adorable like this. She thought a young man's innocence and purity were the most beautiful and precious things in the world. Then she softly pressed a kiss onto my lips. However, just as we were having a passionate night, Zhan Xinyu, thanks to an outfit change video, gained hundreds of thousands of new followers. So the next day, she used that as an excuse to see Shen Yunshu. I'm inviting you to dinner tonight. Bring Gu Yichen along too. Shen Yunshu chuckled softly. You're inviting me to dinner, and you want me to bring my husband too. Are you saying you want me to give you a chance to get close to my husband? Do you really think I would do something like that? Zhan Xinyu scratched her head sheepishly. Even she knew how foolish it was. But she had no other way to arrange a meeting with me right now. But just as she was losing hope, Shen Yunshu suddenly agreed. Even though Zhan Xinyu didn't know what her rival was planning, she still happily left the time and place for the meeting. After she left, Shen Yunshu messaged me, let's have dinner together tonight. I'll pick you up at the office. But I was stunned when I saw the message, because this was the first time. Shen Yunshu had messaged me first, and her first message was to ask me out for dinner. At that thought, I excitedly rushed into the bathroom. I started fixing my hair. But when I arrived at the meeting spot, I looked at Shen Yunshu with reproachful eyes. Why are we on a date, but have to bring this third wheel Zhan Xinyu along? Shen Yunshu saw my confusion. She reached out and gave my cheek a little pinch. Zhan Xinyu is treating us to dinner today. Sit down. Even though I wasn't happy, I obediently sat down anyway. But after sitting down, I didn't say a word. I didn't even look at anyone, just coldly played with my phone. Seeing this, Jean Xinyue smiled and handed me the menu. Guichin, I've already ordered a few things you like, if you want anything else. To her surprise, I took the menu, glanced at it, and said, none of the things you ordered are what I like. Then I handed the menu to Shen Yunshu. Honey, you order, I'll eat whatever you pick. The smile on Jean Xinyue's face froze instantly. Her expression darkened. She felt deeply hurt. But what made her want to cry even more was, after the food was served, I only touched the dishes Shen Yunshu had ordered. I didn't even take a single bite of the dishes she had chosen. Shen Yunshu saw Jean Xinyue's tearful face. She felt a bit bad for her. But this was all necessary. In the end, the three of them just had a few bites and finished the meal. What really made me angry was, when we left, Jean Xinyue used business as an excuse to drag Shen Yunshu away, leaving me to take a taxi home by myself. Meanwhile, inside the coffee shop, Jean Xinyue looked at Shen Yunshu angrily. Did you say something to Gu Yichin? That's why you treated me like that. As she spoke, Jean Xinyue couldn't help but burst into tears. He clearly used to be so nice to me. Shen Yunshu pulled out a tissue and handed it to her. You're right. I was the one who told Gu Yichin to treat you that way. I forced him to do it. Jean Xinyue cried even harder. She knew I wasn't the arrogant, overbearing type, and I have a lot of pride. How could I just obediently listen to Shen Yunshu? Seeing this, Shen Yunshu smiled slightly and said, do you want to look in the mirror for a moment? Jean Xinyue was stunned for a second. She instinctively thought her makeup must be ruined from crying. Her image and dignity before her rival were completely gone. But in the next second, Shen Yunshu laughed and said, you look very beautiful when you cry. Jean Xinyue was shocked. Her jade-like face was sorrowful as tears fell, like pear blossoms drenched in spring rain. Shen Yunshu looked at Jean Xinyue gently. This phrase compares a girl's crying face to pear blossoms in spring rain, making one feel pity. Jean Xinyue blushed slightly. Her rival could actually praise her beauty to her face like that. She immediately pouted again. So what if I'm beautiful? Gu Yichin doesn't love me anyway. He doesn't, but I like it. Hearing that, Jean Xinyue's eyes widened. She stared at Shen Yunshu in shock, and Shen Yunshu just looked at her with a gentle smile. Jean Xinyue's face gradually turned red. Suddenly, she didn't dare look Shen Yunshu in the eye anymore. She stuttered. I still have something to do. I'm leaving now. She grabbed her bag and ran off. Shen Yunshu smiled as she watched her leave. Is this girl just like Gu Yichin, blushing and getting embarrassed so easily? And while she was teasing Jean Xinyue, I was at home, unable to sit still, worried that some cheesy novel plot would happen. Luckily, when Shen Yunshu came back, she looked perfectly normal. I cleared my throat. What did Jean Xinyue say to you? Shen Yunshu didn't answer the question. Instead, she looked at me and smiled. Gu Yichin, you're truly a very good man. I was stunned for a moment. My face turned red. Why was she suddenly praising me like that? It made me feel so shy. Shen Yunshu walked over to me. Then she wrapped her arms around my neck and pressed a kiss onto my lips. Good men should be rewarded. After saying that, she went into the bathroom, and I, blushing in shock, watched her walk away. We've been married for so many days. This is the first time Shen Yunshu has ever praised me. Of course, whatever she says in bed doesn't count. So I waited until Shen Yunshu finished her shower and came out, and asked her right away. But who would have thought she'd looked at me with such a seductive smile? Take a shower first. I'll give you your reward once you're clean. I gave her a surprised glance. Then, as if suddenly thinking of something, I rushed into the bathroom like a flash to get cleaned up. But what I expected even less was, after I stepped out, I saw Shen Yunshu wearing a black slip nightgown. She was sitting on the bed. Her long hair was draped casually over her shoulders. She exuded an air of effortless sensuality. Right then, Shen Yunshu smiled and beckoned me with her finger. Come here. My body suddenly froze. I could only feel my heart thumping wildly. Finally, I took some stiff steps forward. One step at a time, I approached the edge of the bed. Shen Yunshu reached out with her snow-white arms. She wrapped both hands around my neck. She asked with a soft laugh, "What reward do you want?" Her face was leaned in close to mine. Her warm breath brushed against my face as she spoke. Feeling that warm, sweet breath, I blushed and stared intently at her. My voice became raspy and deep. Any reward? Shen Yunshu gave a gentle, slight nod. Hearing that, my Adam's apple bobbed from pure excitement. I want what you refused me last night. Shen Yunshu froze for a second. Her gorgeous face immediately flushed a rosy pink. Because that position was truly too embarrassing. She thought she couldn't do it, so she had said no. But she didn't expect me to still be so persistent, bringing it up again today. Seeing Shen Yunshu's hesitating expression, I immediately kissed her lips, to prevent her from having a chance to say no. My kiss became passionate and intense. And so, very soon after, Shen Yunshu was dazed enough to let me do whatever I wanted. Thinking about how Shen Yunshu dominates every aspect of our lives didn't feel good about it at all. If word of this got out, where would the dignity of the Gu family's young master be? So I went to see an older brother I'm quite close with, Brother Jin Cheng.
How did you manage to control all your ex-girlfriends?
I asked humbly for advice. What's up? Want to get a grip on Shen Yunshu? Jin Cheng raised an eyebrow and gave a playful, mischievous smile. Of course not. Jin Cheng laughed. Actually, I never wanted to control them. It was they who willingly let me take the lead. Why is that? I asked curiously. Jin Cheng gave me a meaningful look. Because they love me. Yichin, everyone has their own personality and love. But the one who loves more is usually the one who compromises, until they are completely under the other's spell. The one who loves less can always remain calm and rational. The charm of love is that it makes you lose yourself. Whether it's happiness or joy or pain and sadness, even the fear of losing them. It all makes you unlike your usual self. If you don't change at all in a relationship, without any intense emotional ups and downs,
Then it proves you don't actually love them.
or at least you don't love them that much. I looked at him in surprise. I was lost in thought. It really made sense. It seems like since I married Shen Yunshu, I haven't been myself anymore. I get sulky because she goes on business trips. I get furious because she has dinner with other men. Just a few words from her can make me angry, then happy, or even blush in embarrassment. So, have I actually fallen in love with Shen Yunshu? Jin Cheng understood immediately from my expression. He smiled meaningfully and teased, So, accidentally fallen for Shen Yunshu, have you? My face turned bright red. I immediately retorted, Not at all. My voice was rushed and quick. Jin Cheng's smile became even more suggestive. Liking Shen Yunshu isn't anything to be ashamed of. Yi Chen, liking someone really isn't losing face at all. By the time I said goodbye to Jin Cheng, I finally remembered.
My purpose for meeting Jin Cheng was to get advice, to find the secret of how to handle women.
And yet Jin Cheng ended up telling me I'd fallen for Shen Yunshu. I was so distracted by him that I completely forgot my original intention. How annoying. I got home from work, but Shen Yunshu wasn't back yet. However, I saw Zan Xinyu sitting on the sofa in the living room, chatting with Grandfather Gu. My face darkened the moment I saw Zan Xinyu. Zan Xinyu saw me and was about to say hello. I didn't even bother to respond to her. I just stormed upstairs in a rage. Zan Xinyu was so upset her eyes turned red. Grandfather Gu sighed and told Zan Xinyu, Xinyu, listen to me. You and Yuchen just aren't a match. Zan Xinyu's eyes reddened. She felt wronged and unwilling to give up. Where are we not a match? Our family backgrounds are equal, and we grew up together since we were kids. We're literal childhood sweethearts.
He's handsome, and I'm pretty.
In what way do we not fit? Her voice was already choked with sobs. Grandfather Gu felt soft-hearted seeing Zhan Xinyu like this, but he didn't know how to comfort her either. At that moment, Shen Yunshu returned from work. As soon as she entered the living room, she saw Zhan Xinyu crying. Shen Yunshu teased, The pear blossoms are in the rain again. Zhan Xinyu's face turned bright red in an instant. She was clearly at her most heartbroken. Yet now, a strange sense of shyness welled up. Grandfather Gu looked at Shen Yunshu for a moment, then at Zhan Xinyu. A wise glint suddenly flashed in his eyes. The atmosphere between these two was a bit strange. Shen Yunshu asked Zhan Xinyu, What did Yuchen do to you now? At the mention of me, Zhan Xinyu's tears threatened to again. Shen Yunshu gave a helpless laugh and let out a sigh. She walked over and sat down beside Zhan.
She pulled out a tissue and handed it to her.
Stop crying. Crying over a man who doesn't love you isn't worth it at all. I was standing on the upstairs balcony. I saw Shen Yunshu drive home. I had just come downstairs when I heard those degrading words. My eyebrow twitched. Why had I become someone not worth it? If even the young master of the Gu family isn't worth it, then who on earth is? What exactly are you saying? I gave Shen Yunshu a sharp blare. Who are you calling not worth it? Zhan Xinyu looked at me and said, I'm talking about you. Shen Yunshu looked over at me. Then she asked, Why did you make her cry again? My eyebrow twitched again. My anger flared even higher. Shen Yunshu is clearly my wife, yet she refuses to take my side. Instead, she keeps defending my rival. It's enough to drive me crazy with rage. I snapped in frustration. I beat her until she cried, okay?
With that, I gave Shen Yunshu another dirty look. Then I angrily stormed right out the door.
Shen Yunshu was momentarily stunned. She realized that I seemed truly furious. Where are you going? Grandfather Gu called out after me. Out to have fun. I said it and kept walking without looking back. Zhan Xinyu didn't dare cry anymore. She just kept stealing glances at Shen Yunshu. She asked hesitantly, Did I cause a fight between you two? Shen Yunshu looked Zhan Xinyu up and down, thinking that these words smelled strongly of a manipulative green tea act. Grandfather Gu glanced at Shen Yunshu and Zhan Xinyu. He didn't even bother to say a word in my defense. Instead, he warmly invited John Sinew to stay for dinner. John Sinew looked at Shen Yunshu, and she didn't refuse the invitation. So the three of them had a pleasant meal together at the house. Meanwhile, I was irritably asking
Liu Jianli and Shi Qisheng, the three of them, to go out drinking away my sorrows. Shenbei was the only one I didn't call. When the three of them arrived, they only saw me and no sign of Shenbei. So they asked, "Where's Shenbei? Why isn't he here?" I replied coldly, "I didn't invite him." "So what? Did he piss you off again?" Bai Langyu asked with a smile. I didn't care to say anything. Three of them exchanged looks. What could Shenbei have done to annoy Yichen? Just this afternoon. The group chat was still perfectly normal. How could Shenbei have provoked Yichen so quickly? Liu Jianli asked while laughing. "Shen, it's Sister Yunshu, isn't it? It'll take Shen Yunshu to teach him a lesson." I frowned and gave Liu Jianli a scorching glare. What a guy, totally unable to read the room. Don't you dare mention Shen Yunshu's name in front of me. That's when it finally clicked for the three of them. It wasn't Shenbei who had angered Gu Yichen. It was Shen Yunshu herself who had made him mad. The three looked eager for gossip. What happened between you and Shen Yunshu? Did you fight? Did she scold you? Or did she actually hit you? The excitement in their voices was impossible to hide. I looked at those three faces, alight with the flame of gossip, and felt even angrier. I felt more frustrated than ever. She dares to scold me. She dares to hit me. To save my face, the three of them shook their heads in unison. Of course not. I gave a cold snort. My expression finally softened just a little. So what did she actually do to you? The three of them continued their interrogation. But Liu Jianli had already secretly messaged Shenbei, telling him to get over here immediately. Shenbei finally arrived. He glanced at the leftover dishes on the table, then at all of us. With a cold face and a frown, he questioned, "Are you guys daring to isolate me?" "It wasn't us." Liu Jianli and the other two hurried to deny it. "It was all Gu Yichen's idea. He told us not to invite you." Shenbei gave me a furious glare. At first I felt a little guilty, but as soon as I thought of Shen Yunshu, I immediately felt justified. I intended to isolate Shenbei. "What about it?" I snorted coldly and turned my face away, refusing to look at Shenbei. Shenbei was so angry he was almost laughing. "Gu Yichen, you've got some nerve. You dare lead a campaign to isolate me. It's clearly your fault, yet you're giving me attitude." Shenbei was about to explode with rage, but Liu Jianli quickly pulled him back. Then he leaned in and whispered in his ear. "Sister Shen Yunshu has pissed him off." Shenbei frowned. What did my sister do? To annoy him? Liu Jianli shook his head. No idea. Just look at him. You can tell he's absolutely livid. A person like Sister Yunshu definitely wouldn't use her hands. She probably just gave him a good scolding. Shenbei nodded. It was true his sister never resorted to physical violence. She always used reason to persuade people. Shenbei strolled over toward me. He asked, "What did you do to make my sister angry?" I gave Shenbei a frustrated glare. "What do you mean, me making Shen Yunshu angry? She was clearly the one who pissed me off first." Shenbei snorted coldly. Then he said, "If you dare make my sister unhappy, watch out because I'll give you a beating." I shouted in a rage. "Your sister clearly provoked me, Shenbei. Just because Shen Yunshu is your flesh and blood doesn't mean you can twist the truth and ignore right and wrong. No way." Shenbei retorted, "My sister isn't the type to go around looking for trouble. If your sister isn't the type to cause trouble, then are you saying I am?" I asked back in annoyance. Then all four of them, including Shenbei, nodded. "You definitely are that type." I was choked with anger. Fine, great. So these are the brothers I've been close with for all these years. I've truly wasted my time valuing these people. Fine, I'm the troublemaker. Satisfied? I said coldly. With that, I stood up abruptly and kicked my chair aside. I walked straight out without even saying goodbye. All four of them were left in a daze. It seemed like I had truly flown into a blind rage. I had never behaved this way in front of them before. The four of them looked at each other in utter bewilderment. The other three all turned their gaze towards Shenbei. Shenbei's expression didn't look any better either. Looking at him, Sister Yunshu must have definitely pissed him off. Liu Jianli spoke up. Shenbei frowned. His sister wasn't naturally someone who looked for trouble. But looking at Yichen's reaction, could it really be that his sister had provoked him? Shenbei immediately called Shen Yunshu. Shen Yunshu had just finished seeing John Xinyue off when she received a call from Shenbei. On the phone, Shenbei asked hesitantly, "Sister, did you and Yichen have a fight?" Shen Yunshu replied, "No. But Yichen says you're the one who angered him." Shenbei pressed for more. Shen Yunshu was silent for a moment, then asked, "Are you guys together?" "We were together a moment ago, but Yichen just left on his own." Shenbei recounted. Shen Yunshu said nonchalantly, "Don't worry, there's nothing wrong between us." Having said that, she hung up. Shenbei looked at the disconnected phone. Nothing wrong. How could there be nothing wrong? Both his sisters and Gu Yichen's reactions were very unusual. Something was definitely happening between the two of them. He felt exactly like a cookie sandwiched in the middle. Caught right in the center, both sides were awkward, having to look after both sides like this. I just felt that I was truly beyond pitiable. If other men have a broken heart or encounter some grievance, they can go to their brothers to pour their hearts out. But what about me? Even all my brothers have taken Shen Yunshu's side. Shen Bei goes without saying. As Shen Yunshu's biological brother, of course he would defend his sister. As for Liu Jianli and Shi Qisheng, those two are basically Shen Yunshu's fanboys. They're constantly hoping that Shen Yunshu and I will divorce quickly so they can have a chance to swoop in and take my place. Even Bai Lang Yu, after meeting Shen Yunshu once, joined the ranks of her admirers as well. How could my destiny be so bleak, this miserable life of mine? I had to lonely head to a club to drink away my sorrows by myself. When the alcohol hit, I casually called over a few young, beautiful models. Even though I'm a regular at this club, I have never laid a hand on any woman before, but right now, I truly can't stand it any longer. I finally made it back home at midnight. I thought Shen Yunshu would already be asleep. Upon entering the room, I saw Shen Yunshu leaning back in bed, playing on her phone. The moment I saw her, I gave a cold snort and didn't even bother looking at her. Shen Yunshu smiled and said, "I'm sorry." I was momentarily stunned. I stared at Shen Yunshu in shock. She actually apologized to me of her own accord. Normally, once Shen Yunshu humbled herself to apologize, I should be generous and forgive her. But the problem was that Shen Yunshu had wrongly accused me. I had been holding on to my anger all evening. It drunk an untold amount of alcohol. And it spent so much money too. And yet she used a mere "I'm sorry" said so lightly. To expect me to forgive her doing that would really be too easy on her. It would only make her even more arrogant. If things continued like this, she would look down on me even more and not care about me at all. The more I thought about it, the more I felt my rage boiling over. Shen Yunshu saw my silence and apologized again. I saw Zhan Xinyu crying then. "So I thought you had bullied her. I misunderstood you. I'm truly very sorry." Hearing her say that, I gave a haughty snort and didn't bother to pay her any attention. I went straight into the bathroom to freshen up. Shen Yunshu frowned. It seemed that I was truly furious this time. Shen Yunshu began to seriously reconsider her actions. While Yishin was so aggrieved that he left to indulge in debauchery, she was already silently blaming herself at home. She shouldn't have jumped to conclusions without knowing the truth, and doubted Yichin so quickly. Even if it was just a casual question, it still showed a lack of trust in Yichin. Deep down, she assumed he was bullying Zhan Xinyue. After I finished my shower and came out, Shen Yunshu wanted to offer him a sincere apology. But I just climbed straight into bed and closed my eyes, ignoring Shen Yunshu completely, looking as if I had no desire to hear her apology. Shen Yunshu felt helpless and gave up. Just sleep. After he gets some rest and his mood settles down a bit, I'll apologize tomorrow morning. In the morning, as soon as Shen Yunshu woke up, she wanted to apologize to me, but I basically paid her no mind at all. After breakfast, I left for work immediately, without saying a single word to her from start to finish. Shen Yunshu narrowed her eyes. This young Master Gu sure has a massive temper. Shen Yunshu arrived at the company just as her secretary finished the daily report. Zhan Xinyue barged in. "Yunshu, something big has happened," Zhan Xinyue said breathlessly. Last night, Gu Yichin spent the night at a club with 4 girls. Shen Yunshu raised an eyebrow. "Who told you that?" "No matter who I heard it from, the bottom line is, it's true," Zhan Xinyue insisted. Shen Yunshu nodded, without saying a word. Zhan Xinyue looked at Shen Yunshu and asked, "Aren't you angry? Doesn't your heart ache?" Shen Yunshu: "Why should I be angry or heartbroken?" Zhan Xinyue was speechless. "You have anything else?" Zhan Xinyue apologized. "I'm sorry. It's because of me that you and Yu Chen fought, which is why he did something like this." Shen Yunshu didn't respond, only asking again, "Anything else?" Zhan Xinyue was stunned and shook her head. "If not, then please leave. I have work to do," Shen Yunshu said. Zhan Xinyue felt like her world was collapsing after something like that happened, yet Shen Yunshu only thought about work. She really is just an emotionless working machine. As soon as Zhan Xinyue left, Shen Yunshu frowned. She called her secretary in and told them to investigate what exactly was going on. She believed Yichin wouldn't do such a thing. If he really wanted to womanize, he would have done it long ago instead of waiting until now. But she needed to uncover the truth behind this rumor. The secretary quickly reported back. Last night, the Gu heir went to the club and called for 4 hostesses. But according to those hostesses, nothing happened between them and young Master Gu. He only sought them out to talk for a while, some casual chatting. As for what was discussed, they wouldn't disclose it. Shen Yunshu frowned slightly, hiring hostesses and doing nothing but Just chatting? But then, what could he possibly need to talk about with club hostesses? The secretary looked at Shen Yunshu, feeling curious deep down. He's been by the CEO's side for several years now, and had never seen her troubled by a man before. As Shen Yunshu's secretary, he understood very well what the relationship between Shen Yunshu and Gu Yuqin really was. "EO, would you like me to send someone to inquire further?" the secretary asked, but Shen Yunshu shook her head. No need. She trusted Yuqin. To keep investigating would show a lack of faith and a lack of respect. The secretary nodded and left. Shen Yunshu knit her brows slightly. She trusted Yuqin, but the issue now was that Yuqin was furious. How on earth was she supposed to coax him back? When they were young, to appease Shen Bei or Liu Jianli, all it took was a good meal or a toy model. But the Gu heir was certainly not the type of person who could be won over by a mere meal or a toy. While Shen Yunshu was still pondering how to appease Yiqin, Zhang Xinyu returned. Zhang Xinyu looked at Shen Yunshu somewhat apologetically and asked carefully, "Have you heard about it?" "Heard about what?" Shen Yunshu asked. Zhang Xinyu hesitated for a moment, then said, "It's about Gu Yiqin. He spent last night at a club with 4 girls." Seeing Shen Yunshu's silence, Zhang Xinyu assumed she was angry. "I'm sorry. If it hadn't been for our fight, Yiqin wouldn't have done such a thing in a fit of bad mood. Yiqin wasn't like this before. He was just frustrated and wanted to blow off some steam. He doesn't have any feelings for those women there. It was just a passing fling." Yiqin. Zhang Xinyu suddenly stopped. She felt her explanations were only making things worse, but she truly wanted to help Yiqin explain himself. Yiqin is actually a man with great self-control and strong principles. Otherwise, she wouldn't have loved him so much. Shen Yunshu smiled and asked, "Why are you so keen on explaining for Yiqin? Wouldn't it be better for you if I misunderstood him as a degenerate, divorced him, and left him all for you?" Zhang Xinyu frowned. "I do like Gu Yiqin, but I would never resort to slandering him to force a divorce just to claim him for myself. I am not that kind of shameless, despicable person." Shen Yunshu gave a light smile and nodded. "I know. You truly are an upright and kind-hearted girl." Zhang Xinyu was flustered by the compliment. Shen Yunshu's attitude made her feel so awkward. Most importantly, she has a good eye for character. With her being like this, I really don't have the heart to fight her for Yiqin anymore. Wait, Zhang Xinyu suddenly realized something. She frowned and looked at Shen Yunshu. Could this be Shen Yunshu's real intention? Deliberately being kind to her to make her feel guilty and thus give up on Yiqin. "Shen Yunshu, your tactics are incredibly deep. Even someone as smart as me almost fell for it." Zhang Xinyu looked at Shen Yunshu and slightly raised her head with pride, saying coldly, "Don't call me Yu. We aren't that close. I only came today to explain for Yiqin, nothing more, so don't go getting any wild ideas." Shen Yunshu smiled and nodded. "I have a question I'd like to ask you." "What is it?" Zhang Xinyu asked. Shen Yunshu asked, "Do you know what Yiqin likes the most?" "Why are you asking that?" Zhang Xinyu shot back. She was definitely not foolish enough to easily reveal Yiqin's preferences to her own love rival. Shen Yunshu gave her a half-smile, half-serious look. "Have you forgotten? Last night, because of you, I misunderstood Yiqin, which caused this conflict between us." Zhang Xinyu felt a pang of guilt. It really was her fault. In truth, Yiqin did nothing wrong. It was her own feelings of self-pity that made her cry, making Shen Yunshu believe he was bullying her. "Yiqin is still angry with me now." Shen Yunshu said, "I want to find something he likes to appease him." Zhang Xinyu bit her lip, unwilling to answer. Seeing Zhang Xinyu's silence, Shen Yunshu asked, "Is it that you don't want me to appease him, don't want us to make up, so that you can have a chance to step in?" Zhang Xinyu couldn't take it anymore. "All these years, I've lived an honest and upright life. I've never been falsely accused like this, as if I am some petty, despicable pen. Sinister and shit." Zhang Xinyu stammered. He loves supers." "Thank you," Shen Yunshu said with a smile. Fuming with indignation, Zhang Xinyu left the office. Only then did it hit her. Shen Yunshu was using reverse psychology, deliberately provoking her, forcing her to reveal Yiqin's preference. Shen Yunshu really is too calculating. She's the truly sinister and petty one. It's infuriating, falling for Shen Yunshu's trap again. "Shen Yunshu, how can you be so cunning?" After Zhang Xinyu left, Shen Yunshu looked it up online. The car he likes costs tens of millions, nearly 100 million yuan. No wonder grandfather wouldn't buy it. If it were her, she wouldn't buy it either. Not because of a lack of money, but because a car is just a means of transport to them. Cars worth a few million yuan, or even 10 million, were more than enough. Shen Yunshu thought for a moment, then ultimately used her connections to place a deposit and purchase the car. "It seems I shouldn't provoke Gu heir so easily in the future. The price to appease him is truly too high. There goes an entire month of the company's profits." Elsewhere, I still hadn't received an apology text from Shen Yunshu.
I was so angry I skipped dinner and went straight to the club. As soon as I arrived, I told the manager to call Xiao Si to me immediately. Yes, the manager went to fetch Xiao Si right away. At this hour, Xiao Si was having her staff meal, wearing just a simple t-shirt and jeans, completely without makeup. Usually they finish dinner, then start getting ready with makeup before waiting for their shift. Xiao Si originally intended to apply some makeup, but then thought better of it. Young Master Gu doesn't even care about my face. He only looks at my figure. Xiao Si put down her bowl and chopsticks and went straight to the private room. Looking at the woman who just walked in for a moment, I didn't recognize her as Xiao Si. Xiao Si smiled and nodded. Master Gu, I haven't had time for makeup yet. I frowned. The difference in a girl before and after makeup is truly staggering. Last night, Xiao Si looked so glamorous and alluring. Now she looks so incredibly ordinary. Makeup really is one of Asia's 4 great dark arts. Composing myself, I looked at Xiao Si and said, "You'd better wear makeup from now on. Working here without makeup, you might just starve to death." Xiao Si shyly scratched her nose. "Should I go put some on now?" I said nonchalantly. "No need." Xiao Si smiled and asked, "Master Gu, you're here so early. Have you eaten yet?" I replied coldly, "Not yet. Swallowing my anger has filled me up enough. How could I possibly eat anything?" "Tell me, what exactly is she thinking?" Xiao Si was left speechless hearing this. She thought Master Gu was just tormenting himself. His wife already lowered herself to apologize, sincerely apologizing twice. Now that she's ignoring him, here he is, unable to sit still, full of regret. If that's not bringing trouble on himself, then what is? And they're all the same. They all love making themselves suffer. Xiao Si smiled and said, "The way I see it, your friend's wife already apologized sincerely. It's not easy for someone like her to swallow her pride and apologize first. Someone in her position rarely has to apologize to anyone. She put her ego aside to apologize, yet your friend refused to forgive her. She probably feels humiliated and is angry now too." I frowned. "You're saying she's angry?" Xiao Si nodded, brows furrowed even deeper. I said irritably, "What right does she have to be angry? She was clearly the one who misunderstood me first." I realized it also said too much in the heat of the moment. I considered justifying myself, but never mind, Xiao Si wouldn't dare go around gossiping anyway. Xiao Si smiled. "Master Gu, it's not just you who needs to save face. The young mistress values her pride just as much." I frowned. "I know." I still felt incredibly stifled deep down. "So what do you think I should do?" Xiao Si said with a smile, "Master Gu, why don't you buy a gift for the young mistress? Maybe some jewelry or a handbag." I shook my head. "She's not lacking in those things." Xiao Si chuckled. "She might not be lacking, but something Master Gu bought with his own hands, compared to what she buys for herself or what others give her. The feeling is completely different." Seeing my silence, Xiao Si added, "Master Gu, honestly, between a husband and wife, there's nothing that a night of passion can't fix. And if there is, just do it one more time." I looked at Xiao Si in shock, my face turning bright red. How could she say such things so casually? She's clearly just a girl in her early 20s. To break the awkward silence, Xiao Si smiled. "Master Gu, just trust me. I have plenty of experience in these matters. Plus, working here, heard it all. Listen to me. It's guaranteed to work." Initially, I didn't want to listen to her, but since she was so confident, I decided to give it a try. I transferred her some money, a quick dinner out, and headed home. Shen Yunshu had canceled all her evening social engagements and went straight home after work. Returning home, she saw grandfather Gu was back, but Yichin was nowhere to be found. She asked the butler. The butler replied with a smile. "The young master is out for a social meeting." Yichin didn't have any meeting, but the butler couldn't exactly say he was out partying. Shen Yunshu glanced at grandfather Gu, who was sitting on the sofa looking at his phone. "Yichin is at a meeting with club hostesses more like." Shen Yunshu remained silent, keeping her composed expression. I got home at 9 in the evening. I asked the butler if Shen Yunshu was back. The butler smiled. "The young mistress is back. She's been waiting for you all this time." I looked at the butler in surprise. He said she was waiting for me. The butler smiled. She didn't say it out loud, but the moment she got home from work today, she asked immediately when you'd be back. She even had the kitchen prepare all your favorite dishes. The butler grinned with narrowed eyes. I suspected the old butler was exaggerating, but I had no proof. I returned to the room, but Shen Yunshu wasn't there. The light in the study was still on. She must be working in there. I remembered what Xiao Si said. I really wanted to have that kind of intimacy with Shen Yunshu, but how was I supposed to start? Could I just barge into the study, tell Shen Yunshu, "Hey, let's do our duty as husband and wife"? She'd probably slap the face right off me. But if I don't say that, what else can I say? I frustratedly scratched my head, then headed into the bathroom. Whatever I do, I need to get cleaned up first. When I finished and came out, Shen Yunshu had already left the study. She was wearing a nightgown, lying on her side in bed. Seeing Shen Yunshu's nightgown, I froze.
It was a red silk slip nightgown, thin and incredibly seductive. I had never seen such a sight before. My face turned bright red instantly. What does she mean by wearing this? Is she trying to seduce me? To seduce me and then deny me, is this her way of tormenting and getting back at me? I stiffly climbed onto the bed, trying to force myself not to look at Shen Yunshu. I lay down and pulled the covers over my head. Shen Yunshu looked at me, about to say something. But seeing my cold expression, it seemed I didn't want to talk to her. Even when she wore this on purpose, I remained indifferent. It seems he has no intentions tonight either. Is he really that good at self-restraint now? Or has he already had his fill outside and isn't hungry anymore? Shen Yunshu stared at me intently. Did he really handle 4 girls at the club last night? I could feel Shen Yunshu's gaze on me. I couldn't fathom why she kept staring. Being watched by Shen Yunshu made my whole body itch. I was both nervous and stiff. Finally, I couldn't take it and turned to look at her. But Shen Yunshu just kept staring right at me. I was so looked at that I got angry. What are you looking at? If you want to look, I'll give you plenty to see. I suddenly turned over, pinning Shen Yunshu beneath me. Under her bewildered gaze, without a word, I pressed a passionate kiss onto her lips. Shen Yunshu thought to herself, it seems those rumors about him and 4 girls at the club were false. After everything was over, I thought, surely we've made up now. Because Xiao Si said, if once isn't enough, do it twice. And tonight, I did it 4 times, so everything must be settled. I wanted to see Shen Yunshu's reaction, but she had already fallen fast asleep from exhaustion. She didn't resist at all today. We've definitely made up. I contentedly pulled Shen Yunshu into my arms and went to sleep. When I woke up the next morning, I expected Shen Yunshu to say something to me, but she didn't say a word, going straight to the bathroom as soon as she woke. Is she still angry? But she didn't object at all last night, and she was so cooperative too. Or was she dissatisfied with last night? Seems I might have been a bit too much last night, which is why she's angry. I watched Shen Yunshu head into the bathroom, wanting to speak but not knowing what to say. We both got ready and went downstairs for breakfast. After breakfast, we prepared for work. I planned to drive myself to the office, but grandfather called me back. He told me to ride with him. In the car, grandfather Gu said, Yichin, you're married now, and since you don't dislike Yunshu, you should focus on living a good life together. Stop running to those clubs all the time. I protested. I don't, that's not true. Do you have any idea what people are saying about you out there? Grandfather Gu asked. I asked in confusion. What are they saying? I honestly had no idea. They say you spent the night at a club with 4 girls. Grandfather Gu said, what the hell? Who on earth started such a baseless rumor? Damn it, if I catch them, I swear I'll make them pay. Grandfather Gu said, if you didn't do it, then why are there such rumors? There's no smoke without fire, so that's why. No wonder Shen Yunshu was so cold to me this morning. She must have heard this rumor too. Who exactly spread this news? The more I thought about it, the angrier I got. As soon as I reached the office, I called and gave the club manager a thorough scolding. I blasted him for not managing his staff properly, letting them gossip nonsense outside, damaging my reputation. Still not satisfied after scolding the manager, I dragged the club owner into it and gave him a piece of my mind too. Even after all that, my heart was still far from calm. Near lunchtime, I drove over to Shen Yunshu's company. When I arrived, she was just about to head out. Seeing me, she was a bit surprised. What are you doing here? I looked at Shen Yunshu and said somewhat awkwardly, don't listen to those ridiculous rumors outside. I absolutely did not spend the night with 4 girls at the club. Shen Yunshu smiled and nodded. Yes, I won't listen to them. I thought I'd have to spend a lot of effort explaining before she would believe me. I didn't expect her to trust me so easily. I bought you a car. Shen Yunshu said, actually, I intended to tell you last night, but you didn't even give me a chance to speak. Huh? I was stunned for a moment, looking at Shen Yunshu in amazement. Why on earth would she suddenly buy me a car? When Shen Yunshu mentioned the brand and model, my eyes went wide as I stared at her in shock. Why? Why did you buy me this car? Shen Yunshu smiled and asked, it's a gift. Don't you like it? I quickly replied, I do. I like it very much. Gifted such an expensive present so suddenly, I was over the moon, but outwardly I tried to stay calm and not show too much. Let's go. Shen Yunshu said, let's have lunch together. I nodded and went to lunch with her. After eating, Shen Yunshu went back to her office and I returned to my own. Back at the company, my heart racing with excitement finally began to settle down. Shen Yunshu bought me such an expensive car, so what fitting gift should I give her in return? Unable to think of anything to give her, I eventually went to see grandfather. What did you say? Yunshu bought you a car worth 100 million yuan. Grandfather Gu couldn't believe his ears. Yunshu seems so mature and composed. She doesn't seem like the type to throw money away like that. Grandfather Gu glared at me and asked, "Did you demand that Yunshu buy this for you?" I frowned. How could I possibly do something as thick-skinned and shameless as asking for a gift from a woman like that? Grandfather Gu pondered for a moment. That's true. Then why would Yunshu buy you such an expensive car? I smirked triumphantly and said, "What other reason could there be? Obviously, it's because she likes me." Grandfather Gu didn't appreciate my smug expression. "You're saying Yunshu likes you?" "Yes," I nodded with full confidence. "She likes me, isn't it obvious by— If she didn't like me, why would she agree to marry— If she didn't like me, why give me such a costly— Grandfather Gu nodded. "You have a point." "So what did you come to see me for?" I said, "Grandfather, look, Yunshu gave me such a precious car. Shouldn't I give her a gift in return to show my appreciation?" Grandfather Gu nodded. "You're absolutely right. There definitely should be a return gift. You really should reciprocate her kindness. Look at how generous Shen Yunshu is, Grandpa. I'm a man. And in the young master of the Gu family. No matter what, I can't let her outdo me. She gave me a car worth hundreds of millions. I can't just casually give her something worth a few million. Just to get it over with," I said with a smile. Old Master Gu understood it clearly. This brat is here to ask for money. So Old Master Gu said kindly, "Yichin. In fact, when giving a gift, the thought is what counts the most. If you could hand-make something for Yunshu, then Yunshu would surely be happier than receiving an expensive gift." I looked at Old Master Gu and frowned. "You're talking so much. Is it because you don't want to give me any money?" Old Master Gu was speechless. Was he being that obvious? I continued. "If I just give some random handmade stuff to Shen Yunshu, and if Shen Yunshu or outsiders ask about it, I'll say Grandpa forced me to give handmade gifts because Grandpa wouldn't give me any money. When rumors spread that the Gu family is stingy and treats the daughter-in-law poorly, then that's not on me, okay?" Old Master Gu's expression changed. "That doesn't sound good at all. Money is a small matter, but face is a major concern. He's been powerful in City C his whole life. He can't let himself lose face in his old age." Old Master Gu said, "Tell the accountant to transfer it. Grandpa will give you another 50 million yuan. I smiled and replied, "She gave me a gift worth hundreds of millions. Can't just return the favor with that same amount. That wouldn't be good at all. What if one day Shen Yunshu suddenly wants something that's quite expensive and asks me to buy it, and I say I have no money and run to you for it? How would Shen Yunshu look at me then?" Old Master Gu saw that I had a point. He said, "Fine. Tell the accountant to transfer 200 million to you." "Thanks, Grandpa." I immediately beamed with a bright smile. After buttering up Old Master Gu for a while, I left and Old Master Gu felt very satisfied. Of course, not because of my flattery, but because he saw how much I loved Shen Yunshu. After receiving the money, I started thinking about what gift to give Shen Yunshu. A gift, naturally, must be something the person likes. Shen Yunshu's gift really touched my heart. So, what does Shen Yunshu like? Women's hobbies are nothing more than clothes, jewelry, gems, bags, and such. But Shen Yunshu doesn't seem very interested in these things. After thinking it over, I asked Shenbei to meet up and asked him, "What does your sister like most?" Shenbei frowned. "Why are you asking?" I said, "I want to give her a gift." Shenbei looked at me in shock. Is this couple's relationship changing that much? He remembered they were still arguing just the other day. There were even rumors Yuchin met 4 girls in one night, and today he's already asking about a gift. Shenbei narrowed his eyes. "Yichin, could it be that you did something wrong to my sister, so now you want to apologize with a gift?" I was stunned. "You don't know. Your sister just gave me a Koenigsegg 1-to-1. I thought you were the one who told her." "What did you say?" Shenbei jumped up like a spring. "My sister gave you a Koenigsegg 1-to-1. I looked at Shenbei's panicked state. "Didn't you tell her I liked that car, so that your sister would buy it for me?" "I didn't," Shenbei replied coldly. He left immediately. "Hey, don't go." "Where are you going? You still haven't told me what your sister likes. Since your sister gave me a car, I have to return the favor." Shenbei stopped. He turned back and said, "What does my sister like? She's a woman. What do you think she likes? Women only like men. If you want to return the favor, give her a few men." With that, he walked straight away. I frowned as I watched Shenbei walk away. What does he mean by that? Give men to Shen Yunshu? Does he want me to cuckold myself? What a psycho. Shenbei was furious. He went straight to Shen Yunshu. "Nuna, I heard you gave Yichin a Koenigsegg 1-to-1. Shen Yunshu nodded. Yes. Shenbei had still held on to some hope. But now, hearing her admit it with his own ears, Shenbei felt like the sky was falling. She had never given him something so expensive, and yet she gave it to Yichin. How could she treat him like this? "What's wrong?" Shen Yunshu saw Shenbei's look was off. He asked, "Why did you give Yichin such an expensive car?" Shenbei said resentfully, "You've never given me one." Shen Yunshu was stunned for a moment. She stared at Shen Bei. Is a Bei jealous of Yichen? Shen Bei turned and left immediately. A Bei. Shen Yunshu called after him, but he didn't even bother to look back. Shen Yunshu had a massive headache. Now she finally understood the feeling of men stuck between their wives and mothers, a dilemma where nothing works. She was now stuck between her brother and her husband. It was truly awkward. Should she give a Bei the exact same car? That's 200 million yuan gone in a heartbeat. The pain of losing money suddenly doubled. But if she didn't, a Bei would probably pout forever. After all, a Bei was her only little brother. Shen Yunshu let out a sigh. She contacted her friend abroad again and ordered one more.
When Shen Yunshu got home from work, she asked me, "Did you tell Shen Bei that I gave you a Koenigsegg?" I nodded. "Why?" Shen Yunshu said casually. "Nothing. It's just that I gave one to Shen Bei too." I was stunned for a long time before reacting, gritting my teeth in anger. How can Shen Bei be so thick-skinned? He's a grown man, and he's still begging for gifts. Annoyed, I texted Shen Bei, "You're an adult now. If you want something, go buy it yourself. Why make your sister buy it for you?" Shen Bei sneered after reading the text. How dare he blame me? He didn't even care to ask for a gift from his sister. Talk about the pot calling the kettle black. "What do you mean? Are you saying I asked my sister for it?" I replied. "Is that not the case? If you didn't ask, if you didn't beg my sister, why on earth would she buy a Koenigsegg for you? Who are you slandering? How many years have you known this young master? Am I the type to go around begging for things?" Shen Bei frowned. "If you didn't say anything, how would she know you liked the Koenigsegg?" I replied, "I thought you told her." Shen Bei messaged, "It wasn't me. Let's set that issue aside for now. Now let's talk about your problem." Shen Bei huffed. "My problem? What problem do I have?" I sneered. "You're a grown man. You're the second young master of the Shen family, famous throughout City C. If you like something, buy it with your own money, but you're thick-skinned enough to demand your sister buy it." Shen Bei said, "My sister already bought me the Koenigsegg." I frowned. "You didn't know?" Shen Bei, "I know now. It seems my sister still loves me the most." "What love? You're just shameless for demanding it." Shen Bei replied, "That's right. I did demand it. So what? My sister pampers me and loves me, so she's happy to buy it. Do you think anyone who asks her will definitely get her to buy it for them?" Seeing Shen Bei's texts, I was beyond furious. I was supposed to be the only one she bought a Koenigsegg for. It was supposed to be unique. I would have looked so cool driving it out. Now Shen Bei has one too. I feel like I'm no longer unique in Shen Yunshu's heart. Thinking of this made me even more depressed. She noticed my mood and asked, "What's wrong?" "Nothing," I replied. I thought, just because she bought Shen Bei the exact same car as mine, I'm feeling unhappy. But saying those kind of things, a prideful person like me would never say that out loud. If I said it, it would sound like I'm jealous and fighting for her favor. Shen Yunshu frowned slightly. I already bought him such an expensive car. If he's still pouting, then there's nothing I can do. Most of her mind was on work. She didn't have the energy to coddle me. My heart was full of frustration. I couldn't even talk about this with my circle of friends. It would just make me look petty and small-minded. So I went to find Xiao Si again. After Xiao Si heard me venting, she really wanted to kick me. Unhappy? Still unhappy. What's there to be unhappy about? What reason does he have to be unhappy with such a beautiful wife who spends hundreds of millions on cars to cheer him up? What else could he possibly be dissatisfied with? Xiao Si took a deep breath. Then she said slowly, "Young Master Gu, you really shouldn't think like that. You need to change your perspective a bit. How long have you and the madam been married?" "While the madam and her brother have been blood siblings for over 20 years. She bought you the same car as her brother. That proves you're just as important to her as he is. At this rate, your place in her heart will surpass that brother's sooner or later. You have no idea, in today's society, so many women only see men as ATM machines, draining their husbands to support their own families, taking care of their brothers, using dowry money to buy cars and houses for them, and even paying for their weddings. The madam is already very good." I thought about it for a while. I've heard many stories about brother-obsessed women. I've also seen Shen Yunshu. She really isn't that kind of person. Plus, think about it. She bought the car for you first. Before she bought it for her brother, the person she thought of first was you. You're always number one in her heart, Xiao Si added. Whether the madam thinks so doesn't matter. What matters is that young Master Gu definitely wants to hear it. Those words from her mouth. Xiao Si, what you say makes perfect sense. I smiled happily. Xiao Si breathed a sigh of relief. Finally, she cheered up the little master of the Gu family. I tipped Xiao Si a sum of money and went home in high spirits. When Shen Yunshu got home from work, she saw I was clearly in an excited mood. Seeing me so happy, she couldn't help but wonder. This morning when he left, he looked so sour. Yet the moment he returned, he was all smile. A boy's emotions really change fast. I was very happy and started planning a return gift for Shen Yunshu. What should I give? After thinking about it over and over, I finally decided on a ring. Shen Yunshu already has plenty of houses and cars. Besides, if I bought a house, it would just sit there. She might not even live there for 10 years. But a ring is a different story. Although she has many rings, ranging from thousands to millions, but she doesn't have one worth tens or hundreds of billions. A gift should be something the other person doesn't have yet. Plus, if I buy a ring, even if she doesn't usually wear it, she'll definitely use it on important occasions.
Every time she wears it, she'll think of me immediately. I compared options for a while, and finally chose Bulgari. Custom ordering a ring for Shen Yunshu, set with a 10-carat royal blue diamond, and she had no idea about any of this. Late at night, while Yunshu and I were being intimate, suddenly the phone on the nightstand rang. She glanced at it with dreamy eyes, and instantly snapped awake. It was Secretary's son calling. Calling at this hour. It must be something extremely important. As she reached for the phone, Ichin from behind, seeing her distracted at a time like this, tried harder until she couldn't resist any longer. Finally, I let her go. Because no one answered. The phone stopped ringing, but another call came through quickly after. That's when she picked up. Hello? Secretary's son on the other end was a bit stunned, sensing that her boss' voice sounded a bit off. Her voice was soft and seemed to be out of breath. "EO, what's wrong?" Secretary, son asked worriedly. Shen Yunshu's hand holding the phone was still trembling slightly from the aftermath. She took a deep breath. Lowering her voice, she asked calmly, "What's the matter?" Secretary's son hurried to report. "EO, the wire snapped while Shi Changshan was filming. He fell from a height and is currently unconscious in the hospital." Shen Yunshu bolted upright and asked, "Which hospital?" Secretary's son named the hospital and added that the news was trending everywhere on social media. "I see," Shen Yunshu replied. She hung up and immediately called the PR manager of the company, ordering him to notify everyone in the department. They must report for emergency overtime tonight. Shi Changshan is a top-tier A-list star. Every movie attracts massive attention. An injury resulting in hospitalization and a coma definitely cannot be covered up. No need to check the hot searches. One can only imagine the storm brewing on social media. She frowned. Shi Changshan is the artist. Who brings in the most money for the company? Please don't let anything happen to him. I saw that she had just finished the call. She was frowning heavily, so I asked, "What's wrong?" She said, "The wire snapped while Shi Changshan was filming. He fell from a great height. He's unconscious in the hospital now. I have to go to the hospital right away." With that, she went for a quick shower. The lingering scent of our intimacy was still on her. She showered fast and came out. To see that I was already fully dressed, I said, "I'm coming with you." She didn't say anything more, just nodded. She got ready, and we left the house immediately. We rushed to the private hospital. Shi Changshan was still unconscious. His manager and assistant were both there. There were other people there too. Shen Yunshu asked the manager for an update. The manager replied, "All the necessary tests have been done. For now, it doesn't seem critical. The head wound has been bandaged, as a mild concussion. Everything else depends on when he wakes up." Shen Yunshu nodded, staring at him with his head bandaged and eyes closed. Shen Yunshu started discussing the online fallout with the manager. His fan base is enormous. This fandom is known to be one of the fiercest in the industry. After the initial panic, fans are now attacking the crew and the agency. Blame the crew for negligence and safety failures, and blame the agency for taking the role for him. In short, everyone except for Shi Changshan is being targeted by the fans attacking everyone and everything related to him. Meanwhile, the manager consulted with Shen Yunshu. Should they use Shi Changshan's Weibo account to post a safety update? It's the only way to calm the fans' rage. She thought for a few seconds and shook her head. No. If it gets out that he's still unconscious, then our actions would be seen as lying to the fans. That would only make them angrier. We can only do two things right now. One is to wait for him to wake up. Two is to focus on controlling public opinion and managing the fans. The manager nodded in agreement. Nuna Yunshu, Shi Qisheng called out to her. She was a bit surprised to see him, asked, "Why are you here?" There were several people in the room, but she had been so focused on Shi Changshan that she hadn't noticed the others around. "Shi Changshan is my cousin," Shi Qisheng replied. "I see." Shen Yunshu was a bit stunned. "So he's actually Shi Qisheng's cousin. Why didn't I know about this before? My cousin lived in another city growing up. Only after his parents passed away did he return to the Shi family. Only about 2 or 3 years ago," Shi Qisheng explained. She recalled the story of the Shi family's eldest uncle. She had heard he fell for a flower girl. Literally a woman of the night. The Shi family naturally refused to accept it. In the end, he left City C with her. She nodded. Suddenly, the manager was staring at me. With the keen eye of a veteran talent scout, I felt that if I became an idol, it would definitely be a massive success. He had heard some rumors at work. that the CEO had secretly married to a young master from some prestigious family. Since he's here with her at this hour, he must be her husband. He knew that someone with his background wouldn't want to enter the messy entertainment world because money isn't an issue for him. But what if there's an exception? What if the CEO's husband is actually interested? The industry is full of rich kids after all.
While talking to Shi Qisheng, the manager crept closer to me, smiled and said, "Hello, sir." I gave a slight nod in return. He smiled, "I'm a talent manager. I wonder if you're interested in joining the entertainment industry. Your looks are truly exceptional. Please, believe me, under my guidance, you'll definitely become the brightest star in showbiz." I glanced at the manager, then looked at Shen Yunshu in surprise. She just sighed helplessly. She didn't expect him to be so thirsty for talent. His top artist was lying unconscious in a hospital bed, with his fate unknown, yet here he was scouting for a replacement. If Shi Changshin woke up right now, he would definitely be so hurt. He's not interested. Shen Yunshu spoke up casually. The manager looked a bit disappointed. Why are people with such top-tier looks always rich heiresses or wealthy young masters? If only the CEO and her husband had these looks. But we're just ordinary poor people. He definitely could have recruited them into showbiz. Nodded. Yeah, I'm not interested. Shi Qisheng felt slighted. Why didn't you ask me? He asked the manager. He was also a very handsome guy. The manager looked him over. It's true that Shi Qisheng is handsome, but to a veteran man, his looks were just average. Having worked in showbiz for so long, surrounded by ethereal beauty, his kind of hand was a dime a dozen in the industry. I looked at him with a smile. You're ugly, yet you dare to ask what other reason could there? Isn't it just because you're too ugly? Shi Qisheng glared at me, then tatted to Shen Yunshu. Nuna Yunshu. Look, Ichin called me ugly. Shen Yunshu glanced at me, then said gently, don't talk nonsense. I pouted and muttered under my breath. I wasn't talking nonsense. Shi Qisheng really is ugly, not just his face, but his soul is filthy too. Always eyeing someone else's wife. The manager remembered Shi Qisheng's background. He smiled warmly. So, Mr. Shi, are you interested in the entertainment industry? No. Shi Qisheng refused flatly, showing a "you ignored me" before face. So don't even try to reach for me now. Sheng stopped teasing him. Shen Yunshu said softly. Yes. He obeyed and stopped mocking the manager. I glanced at him. The more I looked, the more annoying he was. You little thief. Shen Yunshu stayed for another hour. Shi Changshin still hadn't woken up. After settling things, she let us out. The manager and assistant were there watching over him, and bodyguards were guarding outside. Nothing should go wrong. She only slept for 3 or 4 hours before waking up. The manager messaged that Shi Changshin was awake. Shi Changshin is awake. The manager immediately used his Weibo to post an update right away. The fans' rage was temporarily calmed. Shen Yunshu ate a quick breakfast, then went straight to the hospital to see him. He was sitting up in bed, holding his phone. The moment he saw her appear, a flash of surprise appeared in his eyes. Just as he had woken up, the manager told him everything that happened after he lost consciousness, including the fact that Shen Yunshu had come to visit him at the hospital, and now she was visiting him yet again. Does Shen Yunshu really value him that much? Shi Changshin, how are you feeling? Is there anywhere that still feels unwell? Shen Yunshu asked with concern. Shi Changshin shook his head slightly. I am fine. Shen Yunshu nodded. Don't worry too much. As for your injury, the company will handle negotiations with the film crew. Understood. Shi Changshin nodded, his eyes never leaving Shen Yunshu. Shen Yunshu gave a few more instructions and then left immediately. Shi Changshin watched Shen Yunshu until she reached the door, and when he finally looked back, he realized his manager had been staring at him the whole time. Don't you dare develop any feelings for the director. The manager frowned in warning. The way Shi Changshin looked at Shen Yunshu was truly unusual. Shi Changshin remained silent. Seeing him like that, the manager's heart sank, so he said, I met her husband last night. He has a noble status, and his looks are a level above yours. Shi Changshin still said nothing. The manager added another shock. He also looks younger and more energetic than you. Shi Changshin frowned at his manager. The manager wasn't afraid of him at all. Although Shi Changshin looked cold on the outside, he actually didn't have a bad personality. He was just a bit indifferent and didn't like talking to people. What are you looking at? I didn't say anything wrong. The manager's nagging made Shi Changshin not want to respond. Is he not young? Is he not energetic? What do you mean by looking younger and healthier than him? He is only 1 year older than Yi Chen. Besides, it's not clear who is more energetic yet. By noon, Shen Yunshu called butler Zhao, asking him to arrange for someone to bring food to Shi Changshin. In reality, with Shi Changshin's status, he would never lack fine food. But this action by Shen Yunshu was a form of care from a superior to a subordinate. Shi Changshin earns hundreds of millions for the company every year, so of course he needs to be treated well. Shi Changshin's contract is about to expire, and many other entertainment companies are constantly trying to recruit him. She wanted to treat him a bit better so that they could cooperate happily,
making it easier to renew the contract. Shen Yunshu rarely instructed butler Zhao to have the home chef cook light meals suitable for a patient and then have someone deliver them directly to him. The manager was a bit surprised to see butler Zhao and the servants carrying food. "Who are you all?" Butler Zhao smiled and said, "I am the butler of the Gu family, named Zhao. The young mistress ordered me to bring food for Mr. Shi." The manager looked at butler Zhao, hearing him say he was the butler of the Gu family. The Gu family. In this city C, the wealthy Gu family with such a prestigious reputation could only be that Gu family. The manager was secretly terrified and smilingly invited butler Zhao into the hospital. He recounted butler Zhao's background to Shi Changshan. Shi Changshan only nodded slightly, though seeing butler Zhao reminded him of Gu Yich, which lowered his mood. The thought of Shen Yunshu caring for him so much, even sending someone from so far away to bring food, made his heart feel much happier. After Shi Changshan finished his meal, butler Zhao and the servants left. Now knowing Gu Yichen's background clearly, the manager said, "How can you compete with him? The Gu family is filthy rich, and their young master is an only child. Do you know what he holds in his hands? That wealth and status, even if you inherit the entire Shi family later on, it still won't compare." He continued, "If you really want to be in love, I won't object. But find someone single to love. Longing for another man's wife will ruin your career sooner or later." Shi Changshan frowned. "If you say one more word, I will ask the company to change my manager." The manager had to shut up. He looked at Shi Changshan and finally couldn't help but say, "I only want what's best for you." Shi Changshan closed his eyes, ignoring him completely. After butler Zhao brought the food to Shi Changshan, he gave me a call. He told me that the young mistress had ordered him to bring lunch for Shi Changshan. I raised an eyebrow, knowing that Shen Yunshu's action was likely just a show of concern for an injured subordinate, but I still felt an uneasy irritation in my heart. It's not like Shi Changshan doesn't have money to buy food, and he isn't lacking people to look after him. And even last night, so late in the night, she still insisted on visiting him. She is far too concerned about him. The more I thought about it, the more annoyed I became. When I returned home, my face was clouded with anger. Just as I walked through the door, I saw butler Zhao telling the servants to prepare to take food to him. 3 servants were carrying various lunch boxes, 6 large boxes in total. Each box had 4 tiers. How can he eat that much? He certainly doesn't hold back when it's someone else's food. Does he really eat this? I questioned. Butler Zhao replied with a smile. "It's not just for Mr. Shi, but there is also a portion for the young mistress." I frowned. "For Shen Yunshu." Butler Zhao smiled and nodded, saying, "The young mistress said after work she would stop by the hospital to visit Mr. Shi, so she asked me to bring her meal there too." The more I heard, the uglier my expression became, but I still didn't say a word. Butler Zhao smiled and said, "Young master, there's a lot of work at home today, and the servants are all quite busy. Could the young master help me by bringing the food to Mr. Shi?" I knitted my brows, early responding, "Why should I be the one to deliver food to him? Just because the servants are busy. Young master, please give me a hand. If I don't complete the task given by the young mistress." "Young master, I have the elderly and children to look after. The pressure on my shoulders is heavy. If I were to be fired, what would I do?" Butler Zhao lamented, looking very pitiful. I frowned and glared at him and said, "Considering you've worked for the Gu family for years and have always been dedicated, I'll help you this one time, just this once." "Thank you, young master." Butler Zhao cheered up. "Young master is truly the most benevolent person in this world." I snorted and led the servants out. I brought them to the door of the VIP hospital room. The bodyguards at the gate recognized me. They immediately let me inside. Shen Yunshu was busy chatting with Shi Changshan's manager. The two of them were discussing some issues on the internet. Shi Changshan had awakened, and online public opinion had been temporarily brought under control. But fans were still putting pressure on the film crew and the company, demanding a proper explanation for Shi Changshan. They wanted justice for their idol. Furthermore, today some rival entertainment companies joined the fray, insinuating that the company mistreated Shi Changshan, forcing him to film such dangerous scenes and exploiting his labor in all sorts of ways. Some fans were being led astray, demanding Shi Changshan terminate his contract with the company, go and serve another house. The manager was a company employee, so he naturally had to stand on the company's side. Therefore, he discussed carefully with Shen Yunshu, not forcing Shi Changshan into anything. Shi Changshan was leaning back on the hospital bed, quietly gazing at Shen Yunshu. The more he looked, the more a trace of undisguisable infatuation lingered in his eyes. I caught that lovesick expression the moment I walked. I've never been one for patience, so I immediately flew into a rage right then. I frowned, glaring intensely at Shi Chang. "What exactly are you looking?" My shout startled everyone in the room, causing them all to turn and look at
Shi Changshun looked at me, his gaze incredibly steady, without even a hint of avoidance or flinching. Seeing that he didn't have a shred of guilt, I grew even more furious. If he weren't a patient, I would have truly wanted to rush over and punch him a few times. "What is going on?" Shen Yunshu asked as she stepped to my side. I turned a cold shoulder and didn't bother to answer. Was I supposed to just blurt out that Shi Changshun was staring at her with such an improper look? Words like those, as her husband, truly could not bring myself to say. Shen Yunshu turned to look at Shi Changshun, and Shi Changshun also remained silent. The manager standing nearby was scared out of his wits. Though he didn't know exactly what had happened, judging by the expressions of these two men, he could vaguely guess a thing or two. Shen Yunshu asked me, "Why did you come here?" Only then did I speak coldly. "Butler Zhao is busy, so he asked me to bring lunch for you." Shen Yunshu looked at the group of three maids standing behind me, each of them carrying lunch boxes. She looked back at me, standing empty-handed, and then smiled gently, saying, "It's been hard on you." I glanced at her, gave a small huff, and my expression softened slightly. "Have you eaten?" Shen Yunshu asked. "Not yet," I replied. "Then let's eat together," Shen Yunshu said. Butler Zhao brought quite a lot of food, enough for the four of us to eat together. After eating, I and Yi Lin have some business to handle, and once it's finished, we can go home together. Originally, I didn't want to stay in this place at all, much less sit at the same table as Shi Changshun. But seeing Shen Yunshu's tone was so gentle, and she even promised to go home with me. Shen Yunshu's words showed that she still had work, so she certainly wouldn't be leaving right away. If I were to leave now, wouldn't that just create an opportunity for that Shi Changshun guy to stare at her? I nodded in agreement. The servants finished setting out the food and stepped out. The manager said to Shi Changshun, "You're injured, just sit on the bed and use the small dining table." "No need, I will sit and eat with everyone." Shi Changshun insisted. The manager thought to himself, fine then, if he wants to seek out his own suffering, there was nothing more he could do. And so the four of them sat down to eat. I threw a sharp look at Shi Changshun, then picked up a piece of food and placed it in Shen Yunshu's bowl. Shen Yunshu glanced at me briefly. I said nothing, but my ears had already turned a bright red. Shen Yunshu retracted her gaze, said not another word, and simply continued eating. The heat in my ears gradually dissipated. This was the first time I had ever taken the initiative to do such a thing. I regained my composure. And just as I was about to resume eating, I saw Shen Yunshu also pick up a piece of food and put it in my bowl. Shen Yunshu smiled gently. "Go ahead and eat." I nodded awkwardly, my face still a bit flushed. I cast a smug, boastful look at Shi Changshun before starting to eat heartily. As Shi Changshun witnessed this display of affection between the couple, he gripped his chopsticks tightly. The manager glanced at him, at his darkened expression, and felt a secret sense of satisfaction. "Serves you right. That's what you get for shamelessly longing for another man's wife." Shi Changshun seemed to sense the manager's gloating, so he gave him a cold glare. Terrified, the manager quickly lowered his head to eat. I knew that if I overdid certain things, it would look fake, so I didn't put any more food in Shen Yunshu's bowl after that. When the meal was over, the servants cleared the dishes. I sat down on a single sofa and leisurely played with my phone. Shen Yunshu and the manager continued with their work. The two of them checked the online comments from time to time. 2 hours later, Shen Yunshu stood up and called out to me. "Let's head home, dear." I nodded in agreement. Shen Yunshu turned to give Shi Changshun a few instructions, telling him to rest well and recover quickly. She said she and the company would handle everything, then she left with me. The manager watched their departing figures, clicked his tongue, and said to Shi Changshun, "They really are a match made in heaven." Shi Changshun gave the manager a cold glare, then closed his eyes tightly, not bothering to look at him again. When Shen Yunshu and I reached home, I couldn't help myself, so I asked, "Can Shi Changshun earn a lot of money for the company?" Shen Yunshu was a bit surprised that I was asking about this. She nodded in confirmation. "How much?" I followed up. I pressed for an answer. Shen Yunshu was surprised but answered, "Around 200 or 300 million a year." Seeing me silent without a response, Shen Yunshu asked with concern, "What's wrong?" I quickly waved it off. "It's nothing." Honestly, I was about to say it'd give her that 200 or 300 million, so she could just terminate Shi Changshun's contract already. But then I suddenly remembered where I would even get that kind of money. Even for the wedding ring for Shen Yunshu, I had to go with my palm out and ask Grandpa for money. Though Grandpa once said that with the Gu family's wealth, as long as I didn't get involved in unnecessary vices and didn't invest blindly and recklessly, it wouldn't run out even if spent over several lifetimes. But at this moment, I suddenly had a burning desire to earn money myself. After thinking it over and over without any results, I ran off to ask Grandpa Gu. At that time, Grandpa Gu had just finished his personal hygiene and was preparing to sleep. Upon hearing that I wanted to invest, he was so startled he was wide awake. "Yichin, didn't I already tell you? As long as you don't invest recklessly and just obediently preserve the Gu family,
Our family's money won't run out for generations. So why do you want to invest in anything? Or is it because you think the Gu family has too much money, so much that you want to just throw it all away? I answered seriously. I want to earn money myself. Grandpa Gu asked, why do you suddenly want to make money? I said proudly, I'm a man. Wanting to make money is perfectly normal, isn't it? Grandpa Gu frowned at me. Do you need money? I'll give you however much you want. I was firm. I want to make money with my own hands. A few days ago, when I bought the ring for Shen Yunshu, I already had to ask you for the money.
Am I supposed to come begging you every time I need money? Well, I have to ask you for it every single time. It's one thing if you always give it to me. But what if one day you don't? So instead of relying on others, it's better to rely on myself. Self-reliance is the best way. Grandpa Gu looked at me with a face full of astonishment. He thought I was using investment as an excuse to ask for money, but it turned out that wasn't it at all. Could it be that this boy has truly grown up? Has getting married made him mature and more thoughtful? Does he finally understand the responsibilities of being a man? I continued, I'm not asking you for money. I just need you to tell me what's the fastest way to make a profit right now. Grandpa Gu looked at me, utterly speechless. If he doesn't take money from me, won't he just come back to me anyway when he loses everything in a bad investment?
Grandpa Gu pondered for a while and said, being a KOL or streamer makes a fortune now. Getting ads or live streaming sales is the current trend. Besides, Shen Yunshu is also in this industry, so if there's anything you don't understand, just ask her. My eyes lit up. That's it. Opening an MCN company. If anything is unclear, I can ask Shen Yunshu. That way, I can spend more time close to Shen Yunshu, while showing her that I am an ambitious, passionate, and capable man. I walked away excitedly. Grandpa Gu watched me go, just hoping this investment of mine would go smoothly. As long as I don't lose it all and end up in debt like last time, it would be fine. Back in the bedroom, Shen Yunshu had just finished showering. I proudly told her, darling, I'm about to open an MCN company. Shen Yunshu paused for a moment. Did Grandpa agree to that? I nodded vigorously. Yes, Grandpa was actually the one who suggested it.
Shen Yunshu thought for a bit and understood. If Yuchen opens an MCN, he'll be in the same industry as me, and I can personally guide and teach him whenever he's confused. Yuchen looked at Shen Yunshu with a smile and said, if there's anything I don't understand, I'll ask you. That was exactly the response I wanted, so I nodded repeatedly. Shen Yunshu said, all right, go take a shower. My eyes suddenly sparkled. Did Shen Yunshu just urge me to go shower? She laughed and said softly, I'm on my period. I stood there dazed for a moment, instinctively glanced at her, then deflated, softly saying, oh, with pure disappointment. So I obediently trudged off to take a shower. Inside the bathroom, I immediately pulled out my phone to search. How many days does a woman's period usually last? Can you have sex while on your period? I'd heard about these things before, but I wasn't very clear on the details. That's why I had to look it up thoroughly. Learning that it usually lasts about 7 days and that intimacy is strictly forbidden during this time. I felt like the entire world was collapsing before my eyes. I have to abstain for 7 whole days. For a vigorous young man in his prime who had just tasted such sweetness, this was like the most cruel torture in existence. And there was more information online. Even after the period ends, you still shouldn't do it for the first day or 2. Because it's not good for a woman's health and makes it easy to get an infection. Calculating it all up, I have to abstain for a total of 10 days. The sky is falling, it's really falling. And so Shen Yunshu watched me walk out of the bathroom with a dejected, lifeless face, looking like someone who had just lost all hope in life. She wondered what on earth I had been doing in there. I climbed into bed, lying down next to Shen Yunshu. Suddenly, I placed my hand on her belly and asked tenderly, does your tummy hurt? I'm not in any pain, Shen Yunshu replied. I was a bit stunned, surprised as I looked at her. It really doesn't hurt. Shen Yunshu nodded slightly in confirmation. I found it extremely difficult to understand. Why is it that in movies, whenever women have their period, they're always clutching their stomachs and crying out in pain? That naive question left Shen Yunshu at a loss for how to explain it to me. In fact, some people don't feel any pain at all, while others only feel a bit of discomfort. The kind of pain that causes vomiting or fainting like you see in movies is only found in a few special cases. I raised my eyebrows slightly. So have I been deceived by those movies all this time? Thinking of this, I suddenly felt a bit embarrassed. Initially, I had planned to massage Shen Yunshu's belly, and even tell the chef to make her a hot bowl of ginger sugar water. Now it seemed all those things were unnecessary. Just as I was about to pull my hand back, Shen Yunshu smiled gently and said, your hand is so warm. It's very comforting. My face flushed slightly, so I kept my hand there and didn't move it. My hand rested gently and warmly on her lower abdomen. Usually at this time every night that the two of us would be engrossed in intimacy.
That wasn't possible today, so Shen Yunshu decided the two of us would just chat for a bit. Why did you suddenly want to open an MCN company? Shen Yunshu asked. I replied, it's nothing much. I just thought that I'm 22 now. I started working, so I don't want to keep begging Grandpa for money anymore. It's time I earn my own money. Shen Yunshu nodded in agreement. She began explaining things to me about the world of KOLs and the various aspects of live stream sales. I listened intently to every word she said, my gaze never leaving Shen Yunshu. Suddenly, I realized that even without sex at night, just lying next to each other talking like this felt truly peaceful and happy. While deep in conversation, Shen Yunshu suddenly asked, "Hey, at the hospital, why did you raise your voice at Shi Changshan?" I pouted and replied, "It was nothing. Truly, it was nothing." Shen Yunshu looked skeptical. Really? I nodded in affirmation, seeing my refusal to speak. Shen Yunshu didn't press further. She turned off the light and we both went to sleep. Early in the morning as we prepared to leave, I asked Shen Yunshu, "Are you planning to visit Shi Changshan again today?" Shen Yunshu shook her head. "I'm not going. His condition has stabilized now." Hearing that, my heart suddenly filled with an unusual joy. Afterwards, we went our separate ways to begin our work. Towards noon, I immediately messaged Shen Yunshu to ask her to have lunch together. I even brought a few people along to meet her, partly because I really wanted to have lunch with my wife, but also because I worried if I didn't, she might go off to eat with Shi Changshan instead. On the other hand, I truly wanted to bring people for Shen Yunshu to evaluate. I understand that main mind and effort are still dedicated to these matters. So for opening the MCN, I will only provide the capital and leave all the management to my subordinates. This is the person in charge I had someone find for me this morning. This person had previously been the head of an MCN company before. I personally don't understand anything about this industry, so I really wanted to ask Shen Yunshu to help review and evaluate. Shen Yunshu happily accepted. The two of us chose a restaurant halfway between our two companies as the meeting place. At exactly 12:30, we arrived at the restaurant. At the table, Shen Yunshu was engrossed in conversation with Wang Qiang, while I just sat beside her. Most of the time, I just listened in silence. After the meal, we parted ways to return to our respective tasks. Shen Yunshu messaged me on WeChat, saying that this Wang Qiang's capabilities are very solid, no doubt about it. As for his character and integrity, I would have to find out and evaluate that for myself. Wang Qiang was introduced by a friend of mine. I thought back on that friend's character and knew he was someone very trustworthy. So I decided to spend the money and tasked Wang Qiang to start right away. For the initial step, I poured in 5 million yuan. Wang Qiang already knows who I really am. The person who recommended him made my true identity very clear to him. Wang Qiang has decided to follow me and work his hardest. Following the crown prince of the Gu family means there will be nothing to worry about in the future, as long as he works diligently and doesn't harbor any ill intention. Even if this MCN company doesn't succeed, he can still follow the crown prince to do other things later on. Shen Yunshu suddenly became an overnight sensation online because the hospital room where Shi Changshan was staying was discovered by the paparazzi, and a photographer caught Shen Yunshu going in and out of Shi Changshan's room. The photos from the hospital room were given incredibly exaggerated headlines by the paparazzi. Top star injured, secret girlfriend visits late at night, crying in pain. They even posted photos of Shen Yunshu, along with a video of her entering and leaving Shi Changshan's hospital room. As soon as the photos and videos were released, Shi Changshan's fan base immediately exploded. They cried and screamed that Shi Changshan was a scumbag, threatening to leave the fandom. Shi Changshan's fans were so enraged that they swarmed his social media accounts all at once, shouting and demanding their money back. Cursing Shen Yunshu, calling her a shameless hussy. Right now, under Shi Changshan's account, the comments are either about leaving the fandom or demanding he pay them back. This whole thing happened way too fast. By the time Shen Yunshu found out, the fans' emotions had already completely collapsed. The whole internet is filled with people quitting the fandom and demanding refunds. Shen Yunshu contacted Yi Lin, Shi Changshan's manager, demanding he use Shi Changshan's Weibo to issue a statement. Yi Lin has already posted it, stating that Shen Yunshu is not Shi Changshan's girlfriend. But the fans didn't believe it for a second. They think Shi Changshan is just making excuses. Shen Yunshu didn't want to reveal her identity at first. She is a businesswoman, not an entertainer. There's no need for her to be in the spotlight too much. But given the current situation, she has no choice but to come forward. Shen Yunshu registered a social media account and posted a declaration, firmly stating she is not Shi Changshan's girlfriend, but rather his boss. She was merely visiting because he was injured. She even included a real photo of herself. The fans are still half doubting. But the omnipotent medicines quickly dug up Shen Yunshu's true identity, the eldest young lady of the Shen family, a genuine second-generation socialite, not a girlfriend, but Shi Changshan's actual CEO. Shi Changshan's fans started having a mental breakdown. They would rather believe that she is Shi Changshan's rumored girlfriend than believe Shen Yunshu is a wealthy heiress. Then someone started a trend, saying that Shen Yunshu and Shi Changshan look great together. Top star versus beautiful female CEO. Once that spark was lit, it was impossible to stop. And then, suddenly, the internet was full of people shipping Shi Chang
and Shen Yunshu as a couple. Things began to develop in a direction that no one could have ever expected. I was busy scrolling through the gossip about Shi Changshan online. Originally, I just wanted to see if he had any dark news or scandals. I didn't expect that the more I looked, the more I'd find stories about him and Shen Yunshu. The paparazzi actually thought Shen Yunshu was Shi Changshan's girlfriend. I was absolutely livid. Shen Yunshu is my wife. How could a scumbag like him ever be worthy of her? Before long, both Shen Yunshu and Shi Changshan's side released statements one after another. But very quickly, everything turned in a direction that I could never have predicted. Shi Changshan's girlfriend fans actually started thinking Shen Yunshu was amazing, that she's a perfect match for their oppa, and so they began enthusiastically shipping them as a CP. I was beyond furious. I thought Shen Yunshu would definitely step up to clarify things, but I waited and still saw no explanation from Shen Yunshu or Shi Changshan's side. It only made me more irritated. I immediately called Shen Yunshu. The second the call connected, I asked right away, "Have you seen what's happening online about you and Shi Changshan?" Shen Yunshu asked back, "Is something wrong?" My hand tightened around the phone. "Why haven't you posted a statement to explain?" Shen Yunshu said calmly, "Not everything needs to be explained clearly to the public. Besides, the current situation is very beneficial for Shi Changshan and the company. The hype is at an all-time high. Shi Changshan gained a huge number of fans today, and the products he endorses has seen sales skyrocket in just a few hours. The customer feedback has been very positive. Shen Yunshu, our Gu family, is a prestigious. It's not like we had a secret marriage. Wedding preparations are already underway. We'll be having the ceremony soon. This thing between you and Shi Changshan is causing a massive scene online. Have you even thought about the Gu family's reputation? When the time comes, people who don't know the truth will think I stole someone's lover, that I'm some homewrecker who cut in line." I shouted in anger. Shen Yunshu said that wouldn't happen. "I'll post a statement in a few days." She admitted she is a businesswoman, and she didn't want to miss out on the benefits from this massive traffic. Wait a few more days? I was so angry that I hung up. I understood perfectly what Shen Yunshu was calculating. Right now, Shi Changshan's popularity is so high, it's beneficial for both him personally and the company. Shen Yunshu wants to use this opportunity to help Shi Changshan land a few more endorsement deals, or sign on for a few more movies. These entertainment industry tricks, even though I've never touched them myself, I'm surrounded by plenty of people who are involved in that world. So I understand all these games. But understanding is one thing. Accepting it is absolutely out of the question. Why should I have to accept this? Who cares how many contracts Shi Changshan gets, or how many movies he stars in? What does that have to do with me? The money isn't going into my pocket. Even if it was, I wouldn't care about a few lousy bucks. How could that possibly be more important than the dignity of the Gu Crown Prince? I went straight to find Old Master Gu with a face full of fuming rage. When grandfather saw me, his eyebrows started twitching uncontrollably. "It's not another investment loss, is it?" Grandfather asked worriedly. "What's wrong with you?" I glanced at him and said, "Grandfather, don't you go online?" Grandfather raised an eyebrow. Did this mess actually make it all the way to the internet? If the loss is so big the whole country knows, then the 100-year reputation of the Gu family is as good as gone. Grandfather glared at me. "You just wait right there. Let me see just how bad things have gotten before I decide how to deal with you, my grandson." I looked at my fuming grandfather in a daze. Why is he getting mad at me? This isn't even my fault. Grandfather went online, but he didn't see any news about my losses. Instead, he saw Shen Yunshu's name, sitting proudly at the top of the hot search trends, in a very high position. Grandfather curiously clicked on it. After reading for a solid half hour, he had finally grasped the whole story. I was still standing there, neither leaving nor rushing him, just waiting for him to finish. "Grandfather, you had to see it to know how much I've been wronged." Finally, grandfather looked up. He looked at me. "Are you talking about this thing with Shen Yunshu and Shi Changshan?" I nodded coldly. "Grandfather, don't you think Shen Yunshu has gone too far? Clearly married but says nothing, and even pretending to be single online so fans get the wrong idea." Grandfather thought for a moment. Actually, from a businessman's perspective, I can completely understand Shen Yunshu's approach. Both Shi Changshan and Shen Yunshu benefit from this. There's no real need to come out and explain.
Besides, Shen Yunshu didn't actively create the hype for this couple. It was all the fans' own imagination one-sidedly pairing them together. That way, even if Shen Yunshu's marriage is exposed later, no one can really blame her. Shen Yunshu isn't a public figure, so her marriage and her love life don't necessarily need to be announced to total strangers. From another perspective, Shen Yunshu's actions were perfectly logical. But seeing how furious I was,
Grandfather didn't say those words out loud. I thought grandfather would fly into a rage. The Gu family's daughter-in-law, being paired with someone else by weird netizens. Isn't this a slap in the face for the Gu family? Grandfather was always the one who valued reputation the most. Surely he must be livid. Yet I waited and still heard not a single word of reproach. Grandfather, don't you have anything you want to say? I asked, frowning. Grandfather pondered for a while. Then he said, that couple name they made online actually sounds quite nice. I froze completely. Looking at grandfather in disbelief, I felt like I was about to explode. Grandfather saw that I was about to blow a fuse. He hurriedly tried to calm me down. Don't be so angry. These netizens just love gossip. The bigger the story, the more they like it. Young Shu knows her limits. She's not the type to play around. There's nothing going on between her and Shi Chang-sun. I grit my teeth. I know there's nothing between them. If Shen Yunshu actually had an affair with Shi Chang-sun, would I even be sitting here? I would have gone there with a 40-meter blade to chop them down long ago. But grandfather, Shen Yunshu is my wife. She is the Gu family's daughter-in-law, I said resentfully. We're getting married very soon. When that happens, people who don't know the full story might think I'm someone who stole another man's wife, or that I'm some homewrecker who broke them up. Grandfather looked at me and burst into laughter. He said, I told you already, those are all unimportant people. What they say has absolutely no value. How can it be unimportant? I said. Public opinion is a terrifying thing. Enough rumors can turn a lie into the truth. If too many people say it, then everyone will believe that's how it really is. Grandfather smiled at me, his eyes crinkling. Are you so angry that you're spouting idioms now? Grandfather looked at me intently and said, after all this rambling, isn't the simple truth that you're just jealous? If you didn't like Shen Yunshu, even if you caught her in the act, you wouldn't be this furious. So what do you want to do now? Grandfather asked. I spoke up boldly. I want to use the Gu Group's official account to announce that Shen Yunshu and I are married. Grandfather nodded. Fine. But for something this serious, aren't you going to tell Yunshu? Aren't you going to discuss it with her? My face darkened and I didn't say a word. Grandfather said, I'm just afraid Yunshu will be angry. I let out a disdainful huff. How could she even be angry? What right does she have to be angry? Right now, she's the one, out there, spreading romantic rumors with some philandering man. She's the one in the wrong. How could she have the nerve to be angry? And the one who should be truly furious? Grandfather nodded. All right then. But I have to warn you beforehand. If Yunshu gets upset and starts a fight with you, don't you dare blame me. This has nothing to do with me. I frowned. I won't blame you. Grandfather immediately called over the PR manager and told me to go with him to discuss exactly what the announcement should say. The PR manager took me to their office. It was only then that he realized. So the crown princess was actually the eldest young lady of the Shen family. There were indeed rumors in the company that the crown prince had married young. Who would have thought it was actually true? Although the Shen family is a bit below the Gu family, it's long been the custom to marry daughters up and sons down. So the Shen heiress and the crown prince were a perfect match in terms of social standing. The PR manager quickly got to work. Within just half an hour, his subordinates had finished drafting various announcement templates and sent them up to me. There were many different versions. He told me to pick one. I looked them all over and chose the one I liked the most. And then, I ordered him to post it immediately on the group's official Weibo. I even spent money to buy a bit more of a hot search boost. Right now, the whole thing was Shi Changshan, and Shen Yunshu was extremely viral online. So any small move related to them would immediately send shockwaves through the internet. Before long, the Gu Group's announcement had grabbed the attention of a massive number of people. The content of the announcement was incredibly brief, stating that Shen Yunshu and Gu Yichin had been married for quite some time, demanding that netizens stop spreading malicious rumors, or else legal action would be taken. The netizens were left in complete shock after reading it. Shen Yunshu is already married? Then what about Shi Changshan? What will happen to our Appa? The fans wailed in sorrow. The couple they just started shipping today had their ship sunk on the very same day. It was the fastest ending in history. Fans went everywhere crying that this couldn't be true. I watched it all and felt immensely satisfied. Served them right. There was also a group of bystanders who were buzzing with talk about Shen Yunshu and Gu Yichin's marriage. This marriage of theirs wasn't just about two people.
It was an alliance between two massive financial conglomerates. At this point, I felt even more fulfilled. Now all those delusional shippers know that Shen Yunshu is already taken. They'll stop pairing her up randomly or talking nonsense ever again. While I was still gloating, Shen Yunshu called. Seeing her name pop up on the screen,
I suddenly felt a twinge of guilt. I glanced at the PR manager, then took the phone to a private corner to answer it. Yi Chen, was it you who asked the Gu side to post the announcement? Shen Yunshu asked. Her voice was still calm. I couldn't tell if she was happy or angry. Yeah, I nodded. My heart started racing with an indescribable anxiety. Was Shen Yunshu actually angry? If she's really mad, what am I going to do? Even though I feel like I haven't done anything wrong, deep down I still can't help worrying that she'll be upset. Shen Yunshu let out a soft sigh and said, "Why didn't you discuss it with me first?" I shot back. "Then when you were building hype with Shi Changshun, did you bother to consult with me?" Shen Yunshu said, "I didn't actively build any couple hype. Just mentioning this makes me annoyed again." True, you didn't actively play any games, but you didn't step in to stop it either. Not stopping it is basically giving your silent consent. Shen Yunshu suddenly went quiet. I was originally very angry, but seeing her silence, I started feeling uneasy and worried again. Shen Yunshu said, "Fine, let's leave it at that. I have to get back to work." With that, she hung up the phone. I frowned. Was she actually angry? Wait. Aren't I the one who has the right to be angry? The whole mess with her and Shi Changsun was so public. Everyone who knows I'm married must be secretly laughing at me behind my back. They'll be mocking me for having a giant green field on my head. I stomped back into the PR manager's office. The PR manager spoke up. "Crown Prince." I saw him suddenly dazed for a moment. Perhaps he's used to calling me Crown Prince in private, so he corrected himself. "Mr. Gu." The manager quickly changed his form of address. "Do we need to hire an internet army to sway public opinion?" I frowned. Hire an army for what? Sway opinion for what? The announcement is already out. Just let the public know clearly the relationship between Shen Yunshu and me, so they'll stop talking nonsense from now on. Isn't that enough? Just take a look at this, the PR manager said. I walked over to the computer screen and took a look, and my face nearly went black with rage. I really just want to tear these delusional shippers to pieces. They actually have the nerve to say I am ugly. After their initial moment of grief, the shippers started comforting each other. Sisters, don't lose heart. From what I know, these high society marriages are all just for profit. There's absolutely no love between them. Many couples look affectionate on the outside, but in reality they each go their own separate ways. So our ship hasn't completely sunk yet. CEO Shen could never truly love that Gu family crown prince. Who knows? He might even be horribly ugly. CEO Shen doesn't care about him at all. The one she loves is our Appa. Our Appa got hurt on set, and CEO Shen rushed to visit him late at night. Was that out of responsibility or out of duty? No, it was out of genuine care. That is true love. The Changshu ship is eternal. Reading these comments made my chest feel like it was about to burst. One person after another says it's a marriage of convenience, that Shen Yunshu has no feelings for me whatsoever. Then someone else mocks me for being ugly, saying I can't compare to that Shi Changsun guy. And yet another insists that Shen Yunshu loves him. The PR manager looked at my grim expression and my fire-spitting eyes, not even daring to breathe loudly. Post the photos immediately, I ordered through gritted teeth. Huh? The PR manager looked at me in a daze. Post what photos, sir? Aren't they calling this young master ugly, saying I am not as handsome as Shi Changsun? Post photos of this young master right now. Let them open their nearsighted eyes and see for themselves whether this young master is more handsome than that guy or not. As I spoke, I pulled out my phone and added the PR manager as a friend. Then I sent him a non-stop stream of photos. I sent dozens of photos in one go, including selfies, and photos taken by others. The PR manager thought to himself, who knew the crown prince actually loves taking photos this much? He's quite the dandy, isn't he? Pick the 9 best ones and post them. Arrange them in a 9-grid layout so they can see me from every angle. And admire this young master's flawless, top-tier beauty. They're getting quite a treat. The PR manager could only let out a helpless sigh. He had never interacted with the crown prince before. He didn't expect his personality to be like this, both arrogant and impulsive. But then again, the Gu crown prince certainly had the right to be arrogant. And this impulsiveness of his actually seemed somewhat charming. The manager selected 9 photos and posted them on the group's official account with the caption, a fresh look at young Master Gu. I let out a satisfied smirk. Then I asked the manager, do you think him more handsome, or is that Shi Changshun guy? You are obviously more handsome, sir, the manager replied. I looked him straight in the eye to see if he was lying. Are you just flattering me? The manager immediately put on an incredibly serious face. Everything I said comes from the bottom of my heart, sir. I nodded with a satisfied snap.
After the photos were posted, I practically lived in the comments section of the group's post just to see what the netizens were saying. Everyone who saw my photos was completely stunned. Is this really the Gu family crown prince?
He's incredibly handsome. That face is more attractive and masculine than any top star in showbiz. He really is very handsome. His looks left the shippers speechless for a moment. They thought that even if Shen Yunshu had married Gu Yichin, it would just be a loveless society marriage, and that Gu Yichin couldn't possibly be as handsome as their appa. But now, slap, slap, slap. Reality slapped them hard. Gu Yichin is even more handsome than their appa. He's so handsome they almost wanted to jump ship and start standing me. How can someone be this handsome? I felt extremely smug. This time, those delusional shippers won't have any excuses left, right? Just as I thought that, those fans started up again. The crown prince is indeed handsome. I admit he's much better looking than our appa. Therefore, we all agree to let the crown prince be the first husband, and our appa can just settle for being the
Good grief, someone please just eliminate these crazy fans. I'm truly exhausted. The PR manager saw my speechless state and laughed. Mr. Gu, actually, you don't need to worry about this. Netizens are just having a bit of fun. I glared at him. I don't think any of this is funny. On the other hand, Shen Yunshu was reviewing the statistics. Thanks to the involvement of me and the Gu group, the discussion level regarding Shi Changshun had risen even higher, even in such a short amount of time. Numerous brands have already contacted Shi Changshun and the company. This was indeed a very positive sign. Up until now, the incident hasn't caused any negative impact or bad rumors, so Shen Yunshu decided not to intervene yet. Should just wait and see. Shi Changshun looked at the pile of comments under his account and couldn't help but scowl in irritation. Oppa, we don't even dare to fight for the position of first husband
because the opponent is way too powerful. We can't win against him. But Appa, this concubine position, we will definitely help you hold on to it tightly. Good luck, Appa. We will support you forever. We swear to protect your concubine's status with our lives. Shi Changsun felt extremely dissatisfied. Why did his fans accept this fate so easily? Why wouldn't they fight for him anymore? Could they really be content with him being just a concubine? The fans might be satisfied, but he absolutely was not. He was clearly the one who knew Shen Yunshu first. The manager saw Shi Changsun's expression and asked, "What's wrong?" Shi Changsun replied nonchalantly, "Nothing." The manager looked at him with a suspicious gaze and asked, "Don't tell me you're plotting a coup to take the throne." "Shi Changsun, you are no match for Gu Yichin." His manager spoke up. Shi Changsun looked at his manager. He really had to put up with this man time and time again. If it were for the fact that this person had been with him since he started his career and had truly treated him very well, always taking care of everything for him, he would have replaced him already. What are you looking at? What could he do even if he was dissatisfied? He wasn't wrong either. If you could really become the second husband, it wouldn't be bad. It's a pity he didn't dare to say the rest of the words, because Shi Changshun was staring at him with a bone-chilling gaze. "I'm not being the second choice." Shi Changshun said coldly, "If I'm doing it, I have to be the main husband." The manager thought to himself, his ambition is not small at all. Too bad there's no hope. The CEO is a typical strong woman. She puts most of her heart and soul into her career. As for emotions and marriage, all she wants is stability. In other words, her marriage alliance with the Gu family heir is the result of the CEO's careful consideration. Unless something major happens, the CEO will not easily divorce the prince of the family. But the manager didn't say it out loud. Saying more would really get him fired. My mood all day today has been terrible. My wife is being dragged into shipping rumors with another man. How could I possibly be in a good mood? But by the time I got off work, my mood suddenly brightened up. Because Shen Yunshu and I have shippers now too. Netizens, after admiring the top-tier visuals of Shen Yunshu and me, were all captivated by that world-class beauty. So they became fans of our couple. Shen Yunshu didn't get home until 9 p.m. As soon as she walked in, she saw me sitting on the sofa, clutching my phone tight. One moment my fingers were typing away rapidly. The next I was smiling to myself, looking just like someone in love. Shen Yunshu raised an eyebrow and walked closer. Hearing the footsteps, I looked up at Shen Yunshu and instinctively turned off the phone screen immediately. I didn't want her to see the chat content. If Shen Yunshu knew I was in a fan group, inciting fans to curse at Shi Changshun and his fans, she would definitely be furious. That's right, I started a chat group for my own shippers. Shen Yunshu saw my behavior, slightly raised her eyebrows but said nothing. It seems like he really is in love. Men in love usually have a few characteristic signs. Always on the phone texting and occasionally smiling foolishly to themselves. It seems many women also rely on these points to catch their partner cheating. She, on the contrary, didn't feel angry at all. Having lived in this circle since childhood, she had seen too much. As long as Gu Yichin didn't do anything excessive,
like having illegitimate children, or bringing someone home to flaunt in her face, or provoking her. She could turn a blind eye to it all. I looked at Shen Yunshu. She said nothing and went straight to the bathroom to freshen up. I immediately breathed a sigh of relief. Shi Changshun is Shen Yunshu's moneymaker. She values him like a treasure. If she knew I was online, not only using a fake account to slander Shi Changshun, but also inciting fans to drag him down, and she would definitely be very angry. Shen Yunshu finished her bath and came out. She looked a bit tired, so she went straight to bed to rest. Coincidentally, she was on her period, so I couldn't do anything anyway. I looked at her lying in bed. Shen Yunshu closed her eyes, intending to sleep. I frowned. Is Shen Yunshu angry with me? That's why she's giving me the cold shoulder like this. Why would she be angry? It must be because I went public with our marriage. Shen Yunshu wants to create a scandal with Shi Changshun to boost his fame, aiming to make even more money for the company. Why are celebrities so into cooking up dating rumors lately? Being contract lovers, isn't it because the profit is extremely lucrative? I pursed my lips, anger rising in my heart. Is Shen Yunshu really that desperate for money? Clearly, the alliance with the Gu Group brings benefits to the Shen Group that are 10,000 times greater than the pennies Shi Changshun earns. Instead of coaxing the Gu family heir like me, she's always revolving around that guy. Shi Changshun and those petty pennies. Typical woman. Such shallow knowledge. I stared at Shen Yunshu. Her hair is truly long and soft, jet black and giving off a silky shine. She looks truly alluring, especially when she's passionate. She looks like a succubus, making my Adam's apple move involuntarily. When will these days of abstaining from love end? It's so frustrating. Shen Yunshu is still awake. She's just closing her eyes, pretending to sleep to catch some drowsiness. She can feel me looking at her. The moment she opens her eyes, she catches me, my gaze still lingering with desire that I haven't had time to hide. My face turns slightly red. I can't say a word. I climb into bed. Shen Yunshu is about to say something, but for some reason, she finds me very dangerous right now. So she chooses to stay silent and closes her eyes. However, her sleepiness has completely vanished. Yichin, if you really have needs, why don't you go find one of your girlfriends outside? Early in the morning, Shen Yunshu woke up and picked up her phone. Recently, the situation with Shi Changshun has been causing a stir on the trending searches. She has formed a habit that as soon as she wakes up, she checks the hot topics on Weibo immediately. As soon as she logged in, she saw some strange titles hanging on the trending search. Truly weird thing. Gu Yuchin gives out red envelopes. Shen Yunshu doesn't allow it. Gu Yuchin playing with his phone. My wife is very strict. What on earth is this? Before Shen Yunshu clicked to see, she was still dazed and didn't understand anything. After watching it for a moment, she didn't know what to say. Shen Yunshu looked at the man next to her still sleeping. Sleeping like a baby, completely oblivious to what was happening in the world. Wake up! Shen Yunshu gave him a light kick. I opened my eyes. My mind was still hazy. Looking at Shen Yunshu, I asked, Wifey, what's wrong? Shen Yunshu froze. She looked at me intently. This was the first time I called her wife. Seeing Shen Yunshu staring at me like that, I fully woke up. Realizing the word I had just blurted out, my ears turned bright red, both embarrassed and ashamed. Why is Shen Yunshu looking at me like that? Does she not like being addressed this way? Does she not like me calling her wifey? Then what should I call her instead? Shen Yunshu said, From now on, you must watch your words in the fan group. I looked at her blankly. I didn't say anything. Seeing that I still didn't understand, Shen Yunshu handed me the phone to see. I took it and glanced over. Then I stole a guilty look at her. I didn't know it would turn out like this. I just blurted it out. Unexpectedly, just a casual remark of mine could be screenshot and posted on the Weibo's super top. It even climbed straight to the top of the search ranking. I didn't mean to, I explained. Shen Yunshu asked, So, yesterday you were holding your phone and smiling foolish. Was it because you were chatting in this group? Yeah, I nodded. Shen Yunshu sighed. Fine. She had thought too much. Pay attention to your words in the future. Shen Yunshu advised, and I obediently nodded. I really didn't expect this to have such consequences. And also, don't get involved in Shi Changshun's business. As soon as Shen Yunshu finished, I felt indignant. He wants to be your second husband, and you tell me not to care. If I don't care, then Shi Changshun won't just want to be the second. He will surely want to overthrow me to rightfully become the main husband. Shen Yunshu was stunned for a moment. Looking at my fuming, angry face, she chuckled. That's just the fans causing trouble. Shi Changshun doesn't mean it that way. I frowned. How do you know he doesn't? Shen Yunshu replied, Because he has never told me. He's never confessed to me either. I frowned again. Can she see that Shi Changshun likes her? Isn't she supposed to be very smart? But if she really doesn't know, I won't tell her either. I'm not stupid enough to do that. I said, You are my wife, the young mistress of the Gu family, and you're being shipped with another man online. How will the world look at me and the Gu family? Shen Yunshu nodded. I know. I'll handle this today. I asked, How will you handle it? Shen Yunshu said, You'll know when the time comes.
After that, we both got up to wash up and went downstairs for breakfast. Shen Yunshu originally thought that Grandfather Gu would scold me for giving hundreds of thousands of yuan in red envelopes to fans. After all, in his eyes, that was extremely wasteful behavior. But Grandfather didn't say a single word. Only then did Shen Yunshu understand. Grandfather's tolerance for Yi Chen is truly immense. Indeed, as long as he doesn't kill, commit arson, or break the law, nothing else matters. After breakfast, we went back to the room to prepare to leave. Standing at the door, Shen Yunshu still couldn't resist advising me one more time.
In the future, don't give out so many red envelopes in the fan group. Why? I asked. Shen Yunshu replied, it sets a bad example. I argued, not at all. I'm giving red envelopes to my family. How could that be bad? Shen Yunshu was surprised. Family? I nodded seriously. Yes. They help me boost statistics on Weibo. They help us edit videos. And they even help me scold the anti-fans. And those random shippers too. To protect justice and my status as the main. They are my reps. They work so hard. I give them a few red envelopes. What's wrong with giving them a little bonus? Shen Yunshu raised an eyebrow. My face suddenly turned. Shen Yunshu laughed. Rest assured. She said, with me there is only the main. There won't be a second or one. My face grew redder. I glanced at her and stated, in the morning, I saw how Shen Yunshu handled it. Shen Yunshu reposted a post from the Gu group. From the official Weibo account of the group, the latest post from the Gu group's account was a set of 9 extremely handsome photos of me. Shen Yunshu reposted it and even left a comment. The comment had no words at all, just a single pink heart emoji. Very simple and clear. As soon as Shen Yunshu shared it, the fans swarmed in. Everyone expressed how incredibly sweet it was, wishing the two of you happiness and forever together. Seeing this, I felt overjoyed. The corners of my mouth couldn't help but curl up.